Chapter 22:16. Originally, Jiang Hengqiu didn't care about Ma Xiaoyu at all. He wouldn't want such a fickle woman even if she gave her to him. But now, Jiang Hengqiu was too depressed. He needed a woman to relieve his depression. Although Ma Xiaoyu wasn't good, there weren't many women in South Ruin City who were better at this kind of thing than her. Ma Xiaoyu was also taken aback by Jiang Hengqiu's sudden action, but she immediately felt relieved. She knew that Jiang Hengqiu needed her right now. The reason Ma Xiaoyu liked Jiang Hengqiu wasn't because of his appearance or because of his first-level astral reaching realm cultivation. In South Ruin City, there were many martial practitioners who were more handsome than Jiang Hengqiu. There were even more martial practitioners who had reached the first-level astral reaching realm in low-rank continents. The reason Ma Xiaoyu liked Jiang Hengqiu was because he had exposed his identity in a drunken stupor. It turned out that the Jiang family that Jiang Hengqiu came from was a branch of the Jiang family, a martial arts aristocratic family in the Langya realm. Since Jiang Hengqiu was a direct descendant of the Jiang family, once he entered the Langya realm, or if a martial artist from the Jiang family came to the ruins of immortality, Jiang Hengqiu could leave at any time. It was also because of this that Ma Xiaoyu tried every possible way to have something happen between her and Jiang Hengqiu. Ma Xiaoyu had already asked around in private. The Jiang family had some status in the Langya realm. As long as he could go to the Langya realm, Jiang Hengqiu would immediately soar. At the entrance of the September Elixir Pavilion, Jin Dafu and Su Shiro were following behind Tang Ao. At this moment, there were still many martial practitioners hidden in the surroundings, observing Tang Ao's every move. Ever since Tang Ao had refined a first-level king-grade immortal pill, Tang Ao had become the target of many martial practitioners in South Ruin City. It wasn't just South Ruin City. Most of the martial practitioners in North Ruin City knew of Tang Ao's existence. They had all heard that a genius alchemist had appeared in South Ruin City and refined a first-level king-grade immortal pill. After hearing this news, the non-martial practitioners of the North Ruin City all felt very bitter in their hearts. Originally, South Ruins City and North Ruin City were equal in strength. In fact, North Ruin City was even slightly stronger than South Ruin City. Now that such a top immortal pill master had appeared in South Ruin City, the cultivation of South Ruin City's martial practitioners would definitely skyrocket. After all, a top-notch alchemist who could refine first-grade king-tier immortal pills would definitely be able to refine high-grade or even supreme-grade star-breaking pills. In the ruins of immortality, the star-breaking pill was definitely a strategic pill. As long as there were star-breaking pellets, there would be an endless supply of astral-reaching realm warriors. Among the numerous martial artists in the ruins of immortals, only 20% were above the astral-reaching realm. In other words, 80% of the martial artists were below the astral-reaching realm. There were also some martial artists who were at the astral-reaching realm when they came to the immortal ruins. However, after converting the spirit chi inside their bodies into immortal spirit chi, their cultivation level dropped. Although a martial artist's strength would increase after converting the spiritual energy in their body into immortal spiritual energy, they would still have to make another breakthrough after their cultivation level dropped. This process was not that hard. As long as they had a certain amount of time, these warriors would basically be able to return to the astral-reaching realm smoothly. However, in the ruins of immortality, there would be a great war every 3 months. There was no time for these warriors to settle down. Chapter 22:17. If it were the first time using a star-breaking pill, then using a mid-rank star-breaking pill would be more than enough to break through to the next realm. However, these martial artists had all used star-breaking pills when trying to break through to the astral-reaching realm in the lower realm. Therefore, this was already their second time using one. The more heaven-defying the effect of a pill, the more resistance one would have when using it for the second time. The star-breaking pill was exactly like that. Theoretically, a martial artist would only need to use a star-breaking pill once in their lifetime. As long as their cultivation was not too low, they would be able to break through to the astral-reaching realm steadily. Therefore, the creator of the star-breaking pill did not consider the special circumstances of the immortal ruins. Although the pill masters of the immortal ruins knew about this, it was already very difficult for them to concoct the star-breaking pill. Asking them to modify the pill recipe was simply impossible. Tang Ao performed a spell, and the defensive array of the 9 Moons pill house opened up. After the defensive array was opened, Tang Ao also walked in with Su Shiro and Jin Dafu. When the people hiding in the surroundings saw Jin Dafu, their expressions changed slightly. Although Jin Dafu was a fool, everyone was very clear about his strength. He was at the peak of astral reaching realm level 9. Because he was born in the immortal ruins, his body was filled with immortal spirit power. In the entire north and south cities of the immortal ruins, there were not many martial artists who could fight against Jin Dafu. As for martial artists who could win against Jin Dafu, there was not a single one. With Jin Dafu following Tang Ao, no one could get close to Tang Ao even if they wanted to. After entering the 9 Moon Elixir Pavilion, Jin Dafu sized up the surroundings. Previously, Jin Dafu had always been restricted to cultivate in the Myriad Treasure Tower and rarely walked outside. This time, it was his first time coming to the Elixir Pavilion. Everything he saw was fresh. Especially in the center of the first floor of the pill house, there was a huge cauldron. This alchemy furnace had been abandoned for a long time. As for the reason for its abandonment, it was because the earth-fire array beneath the alchemy furnace had been destroyed. Although Yi Qiuqing's martial art cultivation was not bad, he knew nothing about array Dao. Therefore, Yi Qiuqing didn't have the ability to fix the earth-fire formation. Previously, Tang Ao didn't want to fix the earth-fire formation. However, now that Jin Dafu and Su Shiro were in the 9 Moon Pill House, Tang Ao might as well fix the earth-fire formation and let them learn how to refine some low-level pills. At this moment, Tang Ao used his spirit force to move the heavy stone furnace away. However, Tang Ao was shocked to find that under his powerful spirit force, the stone furnace only slightly shook. The weight of the stone furnace was far beyond Tang Ao's imagination. It was just a slight tremor, but the ground around the 9 Moons Elixir Pavilion shook. Tang Ao scanned the area with his remembrance and discovered this problem. Immediately, Tang Ao was shocked. This stone furnace clearly wasn't simple. Previously, Tang Ao and Yi Qiuqing had underestimated it. Tang Ao guessed that Yi Qiuqing had probably taken over the 9 Moons Elixir Pavilion from someone else. Therefore, Yi Qiuqing had been the 9 Moons Elixir Pavilion for many years, yet he hadn't discovered the secret of this stone furnace. Chapter 22:18. Su Shiro had only felt the ground shake for no reason. But after hearing what Jin Dafu said, she realized that it was Tang Ao who had been moving the cauldron. The cauldron in front of her was made out of blue rocks. Cauldrons like this could be seen everywhere, even in the low-ranked places. Therefore, Su Shiro did not pay much attention to it first. But now, she was sure that this cauldron was not ordinary. Tang Ao was at the first astral reaching realm. No matter how heavy this cauldron was, Tang Ao should be able to lift it up. But right now, it seemed like Tang Ao could not move it at all. This cauldron is not simple. Come and try. Tang Ao nodded as he said to Jin Dafu. Jin Dafu was obviously a martial artist who specialized in power, and he was at the peak of astral reaching realm level 9. Therefore, in Tang Ao's opinion, it should not be a problem for him to move the cauldron. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Jin Dafu rubbed his hands and walked over to the cauldron. He then took a deep breath, and the power in his body continued to increase. Tang Ao, who was standing right next to Jin Dafu, could even hear the space around Jin Dafu making a cracking sound. It was obviously because the spirit power inside Jin Dafu's body was too condensed, and his power was too powerful. The space around him could not handle it anymore. Under Jin Dafu's horrifying power, Tang Ao did not feel anything, but Su Shiro felt like there was a huge rock pressing on her chest, making it hard for her to breathe. Luckily, after Tang Ao recognized the spell flag, an invisible seal cut open the space between Su Shiro and the cauldron. under the protection of the formation. The heavy feeling that Sushiro had felt just now disappeared. After Jin Dafu's power exploded, he yelled and reached out both of his hands, grabbing onto the cauldron tightly. He was about to lift it up. However, it was completely different from what Jin Dafu had imagined. After he lifted the cauldron 2 inches, a huge wave of power came through, making him feel like his bones were about to be crushed. At the same time, the green rock pill furnace also shook and fell back to the ground. This time, with the 9 Moons pill house as the center, the surrounding thousands of meters radius felt the ground shake for no reason. Immediately, everyone's eyes looked in the direction of the 9 Moons pill house, and powerful soul remembrance instantly swept towards the 9 Moons pill house. However, no one discovered anything strange. Under the obstruction of Tang Ao's defensive array, no one was able to use their soul remembrance to probe in. Of course, if they were willing, they could spend some time to break through Tang Ao's defensive array. However, doing so would offend Tang Ao to death. After finding out that Tang Ao was an alchemist who could refine king grade level, one immortal pills, many people wanted to find Tang Ao alchemy. Naturally, no one would do something so stupid as to offend Tang Ao. After the green rock pill furnace landed on the ground, Jin Dafu was so tired that he directly sat down on the ground. This was the first time Jin Dafu had encountered something so heavy in his life. Chapter 22:19. The injuries he had sustained from the green rock pill furnace also healed in the blink of an eye. That level of injury was nothing to Jin Dafu. It would only make his body feel a little uncomfortable for a short period of time. However, Tang Ao was actually able to use elixirs to heal his internal discomfort. Jin Dafu immediately felt that elixirs were very magical. Tang Ao knew how terrifying Jin Dafu's strength was. When Jin Dafu had exerted his strength, the surrounding space had been unable to withstand it. Even so, the green rock pill furnace had only been lifted 2 inches by Jin Dafu before it fell back down. Tang Ao looked at the ground, and at the same time, he activated his sky polar eyes. Then, Tang Ao thought to himself that the ground was indeed unusual. The floor of the 9 Moons elixir dispensary was made of a type of stone that was similar to the green rock pill furnace. However, compared to the stone used to make the green rock pill furnace, the stone on the ground was a few grades lower. At the same time, Tang Ao also saw a grade 3 immortal array, the black tortoise array. The black tortoise array was usually used to increase the toughness and strength of sect-protecting arrays. However, this grade 3 black tortoise array was used to increase the firmness of the ground. Clearly, the first owner of the 9 Moons elixir dispensary knew that the green rock pill furnace was extraordinary. Using his skypole eyes, Tang Ao also discovered that there had been no earth fire array beneath the green rock pill furnace. Although the earth fire array beneath the green rock pill furnace was also a grade 3 immortal array, the array master who had set up the black tortoise array and the earth fire array were clearly 2 different people. Although their array Dao standards weren't weak, the way they set up the array was completely different. At this moment, the 4 nodes of the earth fire array formation had completely collapsed. Tang Ao didn't need to think to know that someone must have tried to move this green rock pill furnace before but failed. After failing to move the green rock alchemy furnace, the direct consequence was that the 4 nodes of the earth fire array below the green rock alchemy furnace collapsed. At the thought of this, Tang Ao didn't continue trying to move the green rock pill furnace. If it were any other array formation master, it would be almost impossible to repair the earth fire array under such circumstances. However, there were only a few grade 3 immortal array masters in the entire Langya world, let alone martial artists who had surpassed grade 3 immortal array masters. Tang Ao's eyes instantly turned into a mysterious azure color. Soon after, his pupils expanded like a fan, forming a pattern of 36 snowflakes. With the help of the sky polar eyes, everything around him became extremely clear. Even the 9 Moon elixir pavilion, Tang Ao could see many hidden cultivators in the surroundings. These martial artists' soul remembrance had been roaming around the Nine Moons pill house, as if they were looking for a loophole in Tang Ao's array. They wanted to use their soul remembrance to infiltrate the Nine Moons pill house. However, to their disappointment, Tang Ao's array Dao standards were only stronger than Tang Ao's pill refining standards. Therefore, there weren't any loopholes in the array that Tang Ao had set up. In other words, even if there were loopholes in Tang Ao's array, people like them who knew nothing about arrays wouldn't be able to discover them. Tang Ao retracted his gaze and looked at the earth-fire array beneath the green rock pill furnace. Chapter 22:20. Releasing his powerful remembrance, Tang Ao immediately began to draw mysterious patterns on the earth-fire formation. Sushiro and Jin Dafu naturally didn't know what Tang Ao was doing, but seeing that Tang Ao was completely focused, they didn't say anything to disturb him. Jin Dafu walked to the side and sat down, while Sushiro quietly watched Tang Ao. Tang Ao's appearance was not very handsome. It could only be said that he was relatively delicate and pretty. Moreover, Tang Ao seemed to like to smile. When Tang Ao smiled, it made people feel that he was very approachable. However, after seeing Tang Ao's focused expression, Sushiro suddenly realized that Tang Ao's serious expression was very attractive. Thinking of this, Sushiro blushed unnaturally and hurriedly shook her head. Sushiro didn't know why she was thinking about these things. Tang Ao had saved her twice, so she was very grateful to Tang Ao. Aside from that, Sushiro didn't have any special feelings for Tang Ao. Thinking of how Tang Ao had saved her twice, Sushiro's face revealed a hesitant expression. Ever since Sushiro started cultivating, she never liked owing favors, let alone a life-saving favor. Now, Sushiro indeed had a treasure on her. This treasure was the Su family's heirloom. Although Sushiro didn't know how to use it, Sushiro was sure that this item was definitely not ordinary. Thinking of how Tang Ao had saved her twice, Sushiro gritted her teeth and decided to give this item to Tang Ao to repay him for saving her life. However, Tang Ao was currently focused on repairing the formation, so Sushiro didn't disturb Tang Ao. After all, there was still a long time to come. When the opportunity arose, she would give his treasure to Tang Ao. Currently, Tang Ao was completely immersed in repairing the earth-fire formation. Tang Ao was already unaware of what was happening in the outside world. Although he had only repaired 4 nodes, Tang Ao still did not dare to be careless. These 4 nodes were connected to the surrounding formation patterns. Tang Ao only had one chance to repair it. If Tang Ao failed, then this earth-fire array formation would completely collapse. Without this earth-fire array, if he wanted to use the green rock pill furnace to refine pills, he could only use other flames or a martial artist's spiritual fire. However, the flames condensed by the grade 3 earth-fire array were already equivalent to grade 3 immortal flames. Thus, unless absolutely necessary, Tang Ao hoped to repair this earth-fire array. As Tang Ao continued to carve the array patterns, the 4 damaged nodes were slowly reconnected by Tang Ao. Half an hour later, with a kacha sound, Tang Ao's face showed a hint of joy. This earth-fire array was finally repaired by him. After Tang Ao repaired the earth-fire array formation, a sense of enlightenment surged into his mind. Then, Tang Ao quickly organized the knowledge he had gained in his mind. Combining it with Yun Xiaoyao's array formation inheritance jade slip, Tang Ao's understanding of grade 2 immortal arrays had deepened. Finally, after combining his previous knowledge of array formation with his current enlightenment, Tang Ao's mind was jolted. Then Tang Ao was overjoyed. Chapter 22:21. Moreover, this was not an ordinary 6th-level astral-reaching realm martial artist, but a 6th-level astral-reaching realm martial artist who had converted all of his Zhen Yuan into immortal spiritual energy. Tang Ao was in a great mood now that he had another means to protect himself. Not only had he repaired the 3rd grade earth-fire formation, but his formation Dao had also increased to the level of a second-grade Immortal Formation Master. After becoming a second-grade Immortal Formation Master, Tang Ao immediately wanted to change all the formations around the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion to second-grade Immortal Formations. However, after some consideration, Tang Ao gave up on this idea. It was always good to have a trump card. In a place like the Ruins of Immortality, the more trump cards one had, the safer one would be. It would be best if the formations outside remained the same. If he had to do it all over again, Tang Ao wouldn't even change the formations outside to peak first-grade Immortal Formations. Ordinary martial artists wouldn't be able to recognize the formations outside the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion, but there were many old fellows hidden in the South Ruined City. Others might not be able to recognize the peak first-grade Immortal Formations, but the formations that Tang Ao had set up couldn't escape their eyes. At this moment, in a pavilion not far from the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion, two old men were looking at the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion with interest. Tang Ao recognized one of the two old men because one of them was Yang Yun, who had given Tang Ao the Platinum Identity Token. Although Yang Yun was standing next to the white-haired old man, there was still a hint of respect in Yang Yun's eyes when he looked at the white-robed old man. This was because the person beside Yang Yun was the city lord of the South Ruined City and also one of the 5 Yin-Yang realm experts in the Ruins of Immortality. As for the other Yin-Yang realm experts in the Ruins of Immortality, the city lord of the North Ruined City, Beigong Chu, was one of them, and the other 3 were from the Elders' Council of the Ruins of Immortality. Yang Yun, you have a good eye this time. Originally, when you gave the Platinum Identity Token to a kid from a low-level continent, the higher-ups and the other old fellows weren't satisfied, Nan Huili said calmly. Hearing his words, cold sweat appeared on Yang Yun's forehead. The reason why he gave Tang Ao a Platinum Identity Token previously was because Yang Yun had determined that Tang Ao had extraordinary martial talent through the Spirit Peering art. However, the Elders of South Ruined City didn't buy it at all. In their opinion, monstrous talent in the martial way didn't mean that one could become an expert. It was unknown how long it would take for a kid who hadn't even converted his true essence into immortal spiritual energy to mature. The number of platinum rank tags was limited. According to the Elders Association, they wanted to give a platinum rank tag to a 6th-level astral reaching realm warrior. This martial artist was none other than the cold youth with the golden spear behind Yang Yun and Nan Huili. This young man's name was Jun Wuhan, and he could be considered a legendary figure. Jun Wuhan was also a martial artist who had come to the Ruins of Immortality from a low-class plane. When Jun Wuhan came to the Ruins of Immortality, he was only at the 9th stage of the life and death realm. In the first great battle of Immortal Ruins, because Jun Wuhan had killed 3 first-level astral-reaching realm warriors from the North Ruined City, he had caught the attention of a 3rd-level astral-reaching realm warrior. Chapter 22-22. This time, Jun Wuhan was already at the 4th level of the astral-reaching realm. Jun Wuhan would participate in every battle in the Ruins of Immortality War. As long as he fought, the martial practitioners of North Ruined City would suffer heavy losses. It was because of Jun Wuhan that South Ruined City had obtained the mining rights to 60% of the ruins of Immortality Mountain Range. Therefore, according to the Elders' Council, Jun Wuhan should be given a Platinum Identity Token. However, Yang Yun did not expect that the Elders Guild had already given out the Platinum level identity tokens. He was the only one with a Platinum level identity token. The Platinum level identity token was made by the Langya realm. Every 100 years, the Langya realm would give out 10 Platinum level identity tokens. Yang Yun's Platinum level identity token had been there for 1,000 years. Therefore, after seeing that Tang Ao's martial Dao talent was good, Yang Yun directly gave the identity token to Tang Ao. However, Yang Yun didn't expect that there would be a problem. If it wasn't for Tang Ao's shocking talent in alchemy and the fact that he managed to concoct a king-grade immortal pill that shocked the entire city, Yang Yun would have to face the punishment of the Elders. But even now, the Elders' Council didn't seem to want to let him go. While Yang Yun was lost in his thoughts, Nan Huili spoke again. You don't have to worry now. Elderly has already spoken up for you. This matter is over. Yang Yun's heart skipped a beat. There was only one elderly in the Council of Elders. He was the Grand Elder of the Council, Li Yujun. The Elders' Council didn't belong to the Elders' Council of South Ruin City. Instead, it was in charge of the two cities. The Elders' Council was only responsible for selecting talents from the ruins of immortality. They wouldn't interfere with the other matters of South Ruin City or North Ruin City. However, if someone interfered with the Elders' Council selection, the consequences would be severe. The authority of the Elders' Council was even higher than Nan Huili and North Ruins City, Lord Beigongzhu. Now that Li Yujun had spoken up for him, Yang Yun was confused. Yang Yun didn't know much about Li Yujun. He only knew that Elder Li was a third-grade immortal formation master. At the same time, Li Yujun's words carried a lot of weight in the ruins of Immortality's Elder Council. He could basically represent the will of the Elders' Council. Since Li Yujun said that this matter was over, then nothing would happen to him. It was just that Yang Yun still did not understand why this elderly would speak up for him. Nan Huili seemed to understand what Yang Yun was thinking. He stroked his beard and said, "Have you carefully examined the array formation outside the Nine Moon Pill Pavilion?" Yang Yun didn't understand what Nan Huili was getting at. He shook his head and said, "The Nine Moon Pill Pavilion used to be Yi Qiuqing's territory. Even the Council of Elders has to give in to that old geezer. How could I dare to offend him? Yi Qiuqing has already left South Ruin City. As for where he went, I don't know either. However, I can tell you that the original defensive array of the Nine Moons Pill House was a very crude Grade 1 immortal array. But now, the defensive array outside the Nine Moons Pill House has been changed to a peak Grade 1 immortal array." Chapter 22-23. Tang Ao is also an immortal formation master. Yang Yun's body trembled. Although he knew that Tang Ao was extraordinary, he hadn't expected Tang Ao to be this strong. He had refined a king-grade immortal pill that shook the entire city and was also a first-rate immortal formation master. Elderly Yujun said that Tang Ao's array Dao skills are definitely stronger than his alchemy skills. Nan Huili sighed in his heart when he said this. Nan Huili couldn't imagine that a low-level continent could give birth to such a monstrous genius. Fortunately, Tang Ao's luck was good, and he came to the ruins of immortality, which was close to the Langya boundary. If he had gone to some other martial world's ruins of immortality, Tang Ao might have been killed before he could display his talents. Yang Yun sighed inwardly. Someone of a Yojuan's status naturally wouldn't speak nonsense. Therefore, there was no need to doubt Tang Ao's formation skills. Wuhan, the ruins of immortality give out 10 platinum identity tokens every 100 years. I was supposed to give you a platinum identity token this time, but the 10 tokens have all been distributed within 100 years. Cultivate well and don't have any other thoughts in your heart, Nan Huili said to the youth behind him in a gentle tone. Nan Huili was also very satisfied with this youth. Yes, master. Jun Wuhan didn't seem to care about the platinum identity token at all. From Jun Wuhan's words, Yang Yun knew that Jun Wuhan had become Nan Huili's disciple. Nan Huili was the only Yin-Yang realm expert in South Ruin City. It was Jun Wuhan's luck to be his disciple. At the same time, Jun Wuhan's martial talent was also very heaven-defying, and he had his own opportunities. Nan Huili was happy to have such a disciple. Yang Yun immediately cupped his fists at Nan Huili. Congratulations on your beloved disciple, City Lord. Huh? Nan Huili laughed heartily. Nan Huili didn't have a son, so Jun Wuhan was half a disciple and half a son. Jun Wuhan's martial arts talent was not bad, and his character was upright. Nan Huili was quite pleased with himself for accepting Jun Wuhan as his disciple. If it weren't for the fact that elderly Yu Jun thinks highly of that brat, Tang Ao, and that I'm not proficient in alchemy and arrays, I'd really like to go take a look at this Tang Ao. Nan Huili stroked his long beard. Inside the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion, after Tang Ao repaired the Earth Fire Formation, Jin Dafu and Su Shiro gathered around him. Following Tang Ao's technique, a three-colored flame immediately ignited in the green rock pill furnace. Jin Dafu and Su Shiro were curious when they saw the flame. However, after feeling the terrifying temperature of the flames, neither of them dared to approach it. Tang Ao made several hand seals, and the flames changed according to his will under Tang Ao's control. After seeing this scene, Tang Ao clicked his tongue in wonder. This was clearly just a flame produced by the earth fire formation, but inside the green rock pill furnace, he could control it according to his will. Moreover, from what Tang Ao sensed, this flame's flexibility was no less than Tang Ao's nether flame. Moreover, because this flame was a third-grade immortal fire, its quality was much better than Tang Ao's nether flame. After playing with it for a while, Tang Ao withdrew his spiritual power, and the three-colored flame instantly disappeared. Then Tang Ao said to Su Shiro and Jin Dafu, "From now on, you two will help me sell elixirs in the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion. Also, if you two are interested, I can also teach you alchemy." Alchemy? Jin Dafu's eyes lit up. "Can I learn too?" Su Shiro's eyes were filled with surprise. Tang Ao was a top-notch alchemy master who could refine king-grade elixirs. Many alchemy masters yearned to be taught by Tang Ao personally. Now, she was only here to help Tang Ao, but she could actually be taught alchemy by Tang Ao personally. "Of course. Do you want to learn alchemy before?" Tang Ao asked with a smile. From Tang Ao's point of view, every martial artist could learn alchemy as long as they had the means. Even if they could only refine some low-grade elixirs, they could still exchange them for a certain amount of cultivation resources after selling them. Moreover, after learning alchemy, they would definitely have a more comprehensive understanding of the immortal spiritual herbs in the world. Moreover, if they really needed elixirs one day, they could refine them themselves without asking for help. For example, Yi Qiuqing wanted the 9 transformations heaven-reversing elixir after he was seriously injured, but he couldn't find it even after searching half of the Langya world. In the end, Yi Qiuqing had no choice but to refine the elixir himself. Unfortunately, Yi Qiuqing's alchemy talent was average, and he started too late. He also didn't have a good teacher to guide him. After spending thousands of years and barely becoming a first-grade alchemy master, he had reached his limit. Now, Su Shiro and Jin Dafu were slightly better. Although they also started late, they had the guidance of a top-notch alchemy master, Tang Ao. Chapter 22-24. Here are 2 introductory jade slips of alchemy that I wrote myself. You two can take a look. There are low-level spirit herbs in these 2 rings. You can use these spirit herbs to practice. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me after I'm done with alchemy. Tang Ao said as he handed the rings and the jade slips to the 2 of them. Su Shiro happily took Tang Ao's jade slips, while Jin Dafu was having a headache. Jin Dafu was taught by Jin Wanchuan when he was practicing. So, Jin Dafu didn't know many words in the true martial domain. "Hey, little Tang Ao, I don't know how to read. Teach me how to refine alchemy." Jin Dafu touched his head in a simple and honest manner. Then, he patted Tang Ao's shoulder twice with his big palms. Tang Ao was speechless when he felt the huge force in Jin Dafu's hand. Fortunately, Jin Dafu patted him. If it was someone else, they might have been smashed to pieces by Jin Dafu. However, Tang Ao also knew that Jin Dafu was restraining his strength. If Jin Dafu used his full strength, even Tang Ao wouldn't be able to handle it. Feng Cheng was scared to death by Jin Dafu's slap not long ago. Moreover, Tang Ao could only move the green rock alchemy furnace a little. Jin Dafu could directly lift the green rock alchemy furnace by 10 inches. Tang Ao had practiced for 2 lifetimes. Among the many warriors that Tang Ao had seen, Jin Dafu's strength was the most terrifying. After thinking about Jin Dafu's terrifying strength, Tang Ao immediately changed his mind. Jin Dafu's terrifying strength had no advantage in alchemy. On the contrary, if he taught Jin Dafu how to refine tools, he would have an unparalleled advantage in shaping spirit tools. Thinking about this, Tang Ao immediately said, "Little Jin, you don't need to learn alchemy. Junior sister Sue can use the green rock alchemy furnace to refine alchemy. I will teach you how to refine tools. Refining? Jin Dafu's eyes were filled with doubt when he heard about refining. Sushiro, on the other hand, looked at Tang Ao in astonishment. She had initially thought that Tang Ao was very powerful since he could concoct king-level elixirs and repair an ancient array that had existed for an unknown period of time. However, Sushiro did not expect Tang Ao to know alchemy and arrays. That's right, you're strong, so you have a unique advantage when it comes to forging spirit artifacts. Tang Ao nodded with certainty. Then little Tang Ao, you call me artifact refiner. Jin Dafu was seriously bored to the max apart from cultivating in the Myriad Treasure Tower all day long. This time, his mother asked him to protect Tang Ao. Naturally, he was very willing to go out for a walk. Furthermore, he had never come into contact with alchemy or smithing before. At this moment, when he heard that Tang Ao wanted to teach him smithing, he was quite excited. Little Jin, look, you don't know how to refine tools, but I do. So, you have to call me Big Brother Tang Ao in the future. Although Tang Ao did not know who was older between him and Jin Dafu, Tang Ao always felt that Jin Dafu calling him Little Tang Ao was very awkward. Therefore, he let Jin Dafu call him Big Brother Tang Ao. Big Brother, then teach me smithing. Jin Dafu rubbed his hands with a look of anticipation. Although Jin Dafu's mind was not complete, he seemed to be very interested in everything. Jin Dafu did not mind at all that Tang Ao wanted him to call him Big Brother. Chapter 22-25. At this moment, the crafting furnace that Tang Ao took out was not much smaller than the green rock pill furnace. After taking out the artifact crafting furnace, Tang Ao explained to Jin Dafu how to use the artifact crafting furnace. Then, Tang Ao took out a piece of heavenly profound steel and refined it into a spear. Tang Ao didn't inscribe any inscriptions on the spear, so it could only be considered a low-grade soul weapon. However, Tang Ao's crafting technique was powerful, and he used a top-grade material like sky dark steel to forge the spear. Therefore, the grade of the spear was equivalent to a third-grade soul weapon. Jin Dafu's eyes lit up when he saw a piece of material turn into a spear in Tang Ao's hands. He was very excited. Immediately, under the guidance of Tang Ao, Jin Dafu also began to refine this kind of spiritual weapon without inscription arrays. The most difficult part of forging a soul weapon like this was shaping it. Just as Tang Ao had imagined, Jin Dafu's powerful spirit power made it very easy for him to shape a soul weapon. Apart from the few failures in the beginning, Jin Dafu was soon able to forge a first-grade soul weapon without inscriptions. After letting Jin Dafu forge a first-grade soul weapon, Tang Ao went to watch Sushiro refine pills. The reason why he hadn't taught Jin Dafu how to inscribe inscriptions was because Tang Ao felt that Jin Dafu's mind wasn't mature enough. If he taught him too much at once, it would be hard for him to remember. Therefore, Tang Ao simply waited for Jin Dafu to familiarize himself with shaping the soul weapon before teaching him how to inscribe inscriptions. Once he familiarized himself with inscriptions, he could combine them during weapon forging. Although he wouldn't immediately become a very powerful craftsman, it was enough to forge some low-grade soul weapons. After Tang Ao came to Sushiro, Tang Ao found that Sushiro's control of fire wasn't bad, but her grasp of spirit grasses was too poor. It wasn't that Sushiro's remembrance wasn't good. On the contrary, Sushiro's remembrance surprised Tang Ao. Although Sushiro's psyche was not as condensed as Tang Ao's, it was much more condensed than a normal warrior's. Because of this, Sushiro had absolute control over the alchemic fire, which was why the cauldron did not explode. Even so, Tang Ao found that Sushiro was not suitable for alchemy. This was not the first time that Tang Ao had imparted alchemy to others, but in the past, the people that Tang Ao had taught were all talented in alchemy, so they learned very quickly. However, Sushiro was different. In terms of alchemy, Sushiro was only good at controlling flames. She was not very sensitive to spirit herbs. Sushiro's control over the refining process was also not very good. Based on this point alone, Sushiro did not have the talent for alchemy. Even if she worked hard to learn alchemy, her achievements would be limited. Just like Yi Qiuqing, who had been refining elixirs in the ruins of immortality for thousands of years, he had not made any further progress after becoming a Grade 1 alchemy master. He might even be stuck at the level of a Grade 1 alchemy master for the rest of his life. Thinking of this, Tang Ao asked Sushiro to stop. Junior sister Su, your psyche is very condensed, but you are not suitable to learn alchemy. Sushiro's heart skipped a beat when she heard Tang Ao's words. In fact, Sushiro also found that although it was easy for her to control flames, it was very difficult for her to refine spirit herbs. She was not sensitive to spirit herbs at all and could not control the changes in the refining process. Tang Ao pondered for a long time and said to Sushiro, I know alchemy, blacksmithing, and array formations. However, apart from these three, there is one talisman that I do not know. Your psyche is very condensed, so you can try cultivating talisman Tao. Chapter 22-26. However, whether it was alchemy or talisman carving, it was difficult to succeed without the guidance of a master. In addition, Sushiro did not have any top legacy books on talismans, so Sushiro was not too obsessed with carving talismans. That's right, carving talismans. I have a jade scroll from the Thousand Talismans sect. Take a look. Sushiro did not have a top talisman inheritance jade scroll, but Tang Ao did. Tang Ao had obtained this talisman inheritance jade scroll from Dao Master Great Dreams Dao Palace. There were many treasures in Dao Master Great Dreams Dao Palace, but it had been looted by Sikong Jiao. This jade scroll was most likely a fish that had escaped the net. Although it was slightly lacking compared to Tang Ao's array and alchemy inheritances, it was still a very good inheritance jade scroll. After receiving the jade scroll from Tang Ao, Sushiro did not check it immediately. Instead, she took out a gray stone talisman. Senior brother Tang Ao, this is the Su family's treasure. Although it cannot be refined, according to the records of the Su family, this stone talisman is also a very good treasure. You have saved me twice, and I have nothing to repay you with, so I will give this stone talisman to you. Tang Ao did not care and waved his hand. It's nothing. Junior sister Su, don't worry about it. Your Su family has such a treasure. Do you specialize in talismans? Tang Ao did not underestimate this stone talisman. From this stone talisman, Tang Ao could sense a very vast and vicissitude aura. This aura could be found in many of Tang Ao's treasures, such as the chaotic six-light mirror, the Shinnon cauldron, the divine needle, and even the devil-slaying axe. These treasures all had a similar ancient aura. Therefore, Tang Ao knew that although he did not know what this stone talisman was, it was definitely a treasure. However, Tang Ao quickly remembered what Sushiro had said. This stone talisman could not be refined. Junior sister Su, you said that this stone talisman cannot be refined? Tang Ao was very sure that this stone talisman was also a very good treasure. Since it was an immortal artifact, he could definitely refine it. No matter what Sushiro said, it was impossible to refine the stone talisman. I don't know. Senior brother Tang Ao, take a look and you'll know, Sushiro said as she handed the stone talisman to Tang Ao. Tang Ao did not refuse this time. He took the stone talisman and began to examine it. Although Tang Ao did not want the stone talisman, it would be great if he could help Sushiro refine it. It was the Su family's heirloom, and it was also Sushiro's opportunity. Tang Ao took the stone talisman and immediately probed it with his soul remembrance. Immediately, Tang Ao was shocked. This was because under Tang Ao's soul remembrance, this stone talisman was unexpectedly just like a normal stone. The only difference was that this stone talisman was engraved with some patterns. Otherwise, if these patterns were removed, this stone talisman would be no different from a normal stone. Immediately, Tang Ao used his heavenly extreme pupils to look at the stone talisman. Immediately, Tang Ao shockingly discovered that it was not that there was nothing on the stone, but that his soul remembrance could not be seen. On this stone, there was a restriction that was one with the stone. It was also because of this restriction that this stone talisman looked no different from a normal stone. Chapter 22-27. Junior Sister Sue. The reason why this stone talisman can't be refined is because a top-notch expert sealed it with a seal, Tang Ao said to Sushiro after learning what was going on. Sushiro was shocked when she heard Tang Ao's words. Senior brother Tang Ao, did you say that there's a seal on this stone talisman? According to her family's records, there was a seal on this stone talisman. However, for thousands of years, the Su family's martial artists had not found any seal on this stone talisman. There were even many people who thought that the seal was nothing more than nonsense. However, Sushiro had never expected that there was a seal on this stone talisman. This meant that the family's records were correct. In other words, only the direct descendants of the Su family could refine this stone talisman. Sushiro's family had been exterminated by her enemies because of this stone talisman. Sushiro had a mocking expression on her face. She had never expected that this stone talisman, which was coveted by countless people, could only be refined by the Su family's disciples. It was ridiculous that these people had slaughtered everyone in the Su family except for her for such an item that could not be used at all. However, Sushiro's face turned bitter. Senior brother Tang Ao, according to the Su family's records, only the Su family's disciples can refine this stone talisman. However, I don't know if this is true. If senior brother Tang Ao has a way to break the seal on the stone talisman, you could try refining it. After Sushiro finished speaking, Tang Ao shook his head and said, "You are right. This treasure is a bloodline inheritance. Only the direct descendants can refine it. The purer the bloodline, the higher the possibility of refining it. On the other hand, if the bloodline is not pure, even the direct descendants of the Su family will find it difficult to refine this stone talisman. If I use ordinary methods, even I can't break the seal. To break the seal, I need a top-notch Immortal Array Master who is at least a 7th grade Immortal Array Master. However, due to the passage of time, the seal has become unstable, so I can use other methods to break it." After Tang Ao finished speaking, he went directly to the side of the green rock pill furnace. If he had a 9-colored Heaven Fire crystal, Tang Ao would definitely upgrade his Netherworld Flame to a 3-colored Immortal Flame. As for now, he could only temporarily use the grade 3 Immortal Fire provided by the Earth Fire Array. Otherwise, even if this seal was broken, Tang Ao would not be able to do anything to him. Then, Sushiro saw Tang Ao throw the Su family's stone talisman into the green rock cauldron. Although the flames in the green rock pill furnace were extremely powerful, Sushiro was not worried at all. She knew the strength of the stone talisman better than anyone else. Back then, the Su family members had used countless methods, but they had been unable to move the stone talisman at all. After throwing the stone talisman into the green rock alchemy furnace, Tang Ao's hand seals changed, and the flames in the green rock alchemy furnace began to burn. When Sushiro used the green rock pill furnace's flames, although her control was very precise, Sushiro didn't understand arrays, and her soul remembrance wasn't as powerful as Tang Ao's. Therefore, the green rock pill furnace's flames couldn't reach such a violent level. Chapter 22-28. A deep blue light flickered in Tang Ao's eyes as he instantly activated his sky polar pupils. Under the detection of the sky polar pupils, the seal within the stone talisman was glowing with a golden light. Although a 3rd grade immortal fire couldn't immediately burn the seal on the stone talisman, the power of a 3rd grade immortal fire was still very frightening. If things continued like this, Tang Ao estimated that it wouldn't be a problem for him to break the seal on the stone talisman after a period of time. However, Tang Ao didn't expect that it would take so long to break the seal. After 8 hours, when Tang Ao's soul remembrance was about to be exhausted, Tang Ao heard a crisp cracking sound. Hearing this sound, Tang Ao's spirit was immediately refreshed. When he looked at the green rock pill furnace again, the stone talisman was nowhere to be seen. At this moment, there was only a mass of bright golden light. At the same time, a vast aura of great Tao spread out. Feeling this aura, Tang Ao's cultivation base instantly reached the second level of astral reaching realm. Then, he directly broke through the second level of astral reaching realm and reached the second level of astral reaching realm. Sushiro, who was beside him, also benefited. Under this vast aura of great Tao, Sushiro's cultivation base instantly broke through to the first level of astral reaching realm. Tang Ao had already tried his best to overestimate this stone talisman. But now, it seemed that Tang Ao had still underestimated this stone talisman. Soon, Tang Ao's expression changed. Because this mass of golden light's great Tao aura was too vast, the arrays that Tang Ao had set up around the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion were all making creaking sounds. It seemed that this powerful great Tao aura was about to leak out. Tang Ao was extremely anxious. In a place like the Immortal Ruins, Tang Ao's cultivation base of first-level astral reaching realm was merely at the bottom of the bottom. The reason why nothing had happened to Tang Ao was because Tang Ao's true treasures had not been exposed. Otherwise, as long as one of Tang Ao's treasures was exposed, not to mention top astral reaching realm warriors, Tang Ao believed that even Yin-Yang realm warriors would be able to find him very quickly. Once the aura of the great path of this golden light was released, the three of them would be in trouble. Thinking of this, Tang Ao hurriedly threw out several formation flags and said to Sushiro, "Junior sister Su, quickly refine the heavenly law talisman. I will protect you." Sushiro naturally knew the consequences of exposing the heavenly law talisman, so she nodded and immediately went to the heavenly law talisman. A few drops of blood fell on the talisman, and at the same time, Sushiro made a few hand seals. The Heavenly Tao Talisman was the name of this stone talisman. The Heavenly Tao Talisman was one of the most precious treasures in the world. In theory, anyone could refine it. After the Su family's ancestor refined the Heavenly Law Talisman, generations of Su family's ancestors had been using their own blood to nourish the weak Heavenly Law Talisman. After the Heavenly Law Talisman grew up, it was grateful to the Su family's blood. Therefore, it was very easy for the Su family to refine the talisman. As expected, after absorbing Sushiro's blood, the Heavenly Law Talisman, which had just broken its seal, immediately calmed down. As Sushiro refined it, countless talismans appeared around the Heavenly Law Talisman and eventually returned to the Heavenly Law Talisman. An hour later, the Heavenly Law Talisman finally trembled and turned into a beam of golden light, entering Sushiro's sea of consciousness. Chapter 22-29. The ruins of Immortality Elder Council was located in the sky above the ruins of Immortality Battlefield. There was a huge hall floating in the sky using a formation. At this moment, an old man with sinister eyes suddenly glanced at the Nine Moon Pill Pavilion in South Ruin City. His eyes were filled with great shock. Lu Hua was overjoyed when he probed the hall with his soul and discovered that the other old men were completely unmoved. Lu Hua was sure that the aura just now belonged to the legendary Heavenly Law Talisman. The reason he was so sure was because Lu Hua had once obtained a talisman born from the Heavenly Law Talisman. Lu Hua took out the space-piercing talisman he had once obtained. The aura of the space-piercing talisman was exactly the same as the aura he had sensed just now. When Lu Hua first learned of the Heavenly Law Talisman's existence, it was still on a low-level continent. Even so, Lu Hua still tried to find a way to go to that low-level continent. However, he still couldn't find the Heavenly Law Talisman even after slaughtering the entire Su clan that was guarding it. But Lu Hua had never thought that he would be able to find what he was looking for without even trying. The heavenly law talisman that he had racked his brains to no avail had delivered itself to his doorstep. When he thought up to this point, Lu Hua vanished from the great hall of the Elder Council and headed straight for South Ruin City. The other 6 elders hadn't sensed the aura of the heavenly law talisman just now, but they all knew that Lu Hua had left the Void Hall and was heading to South Ruin City. What is Lu Hua going to do? Strange, one of the short elders muttered as he looked in the direction that Lu Hua had left in. I don't know. That old monster has always been mysterious. Don't worry about him. Another voice rang out, but it was unknown where the speaker was coming from. There seemed to be a special aura that flashed across South Ruin City just now. I don't know what it was. This time, the speaker was an old woman. She was the only female martial practitioner in the ruins of Immortality's Elder Council. From this, it was clear that she was quite strong. Elder Rome is right. I also sensed a special aura 100 years ago. Elder Lu Hua also suddenly disappeared 100 years ago. Is there a connection between them? Li Yujun said indifferently while stroking his long beard. According to the higher-ups' investigation, Lu Hua descended to the lower realms 100 years ago and slaughtered a family in a low-level plane. He was severely punished for that. Did he not learn his lesson this time? While the elders of the council were discussing, Lu Hua had already transformed into a streak of light and entered South Ruin City. However, Lu Hua was stopped by Nan Huili the moment he entered South Ruin City. Nan Huili was worried that Tang Ao would harm Tang Ao due to the fact that Beigong Ji had concocted a Tier 1 King-grade immortal pill. Hence, he decided to stay and observe for a while. Nan Huili was also alarmed when he saw the Yin-Yang realm aura closing in on him. Fortunately, after blocking the light, Nan Huili discovered that it wasn't Beigong Ju, but the 7th elder of the ruins of immortality, Lu Hua. Nan Huili, you dare to stop me? Lu Hua said to Nan Huili with an unfriendly expression. Although they were both Yin-Yang realm experts, Nan Huili was only at the 1st stage while Lu Hua was already at the 3rd stage. Moreover, the ruins of immortality's Elder Council was already above the South Ruin City and the North Ruin City. Whether it was status or cultivation, Lu Hua was higher than Nan Huili. Chapter 22:30. I'm just looking around. Lu Hua coldly snorted and ignored Nan Huili. He flew directly towards the direction of the 9-moon pill pavilion. Lu Hua was sure that the aura of the heavenly Tao talisman had appeared nearby. If this wasn't the ruins of immortality, Lu Hua would have captured all the martial artists in this area and searched their souls. However, even though Lu Hua was an elder of the ruins of immortality's Elder Council, he didn't have the guts to do that. With his authority, it wouldn't be a problem to capture a few martial artists and investigate them. However, if he took too many martial artists at once, Li Yujun and the other old fellows wouldn't agree. The ruins of immortality's Elder Council existed to select the best of the best and select geniuses from low-level planes to enter the Langya realm. It wasn't to interfere with the development of the ruins of immortality. When Lu Hua arrived near the 9-moon elixir pavilion, his expression darkened. Lu Hua knew that even though he had rushed over without warning, he was still too late. The heavenly Tao talisman's aura had completely disappeared. Lu Hua could only confirm that it had appeared in this area not long ago. As for following the heavenly Tao talisman's aura, it was no longer possible. Lu Hua guessed that either a martial artist had refined the heavenly Tao talisman, or the heavenly Tao talisman's aura had been concealed by some top-notch treasure. To conceal the aura of a supreme treasure like the heavenly Tao talisman, ordinary items wouldn't do. Lu Hua scanned the area with his soul remembrance and discovered that there were at least 300 martial artists in this area. If this was any other place, Lu Hua would definitely search the souls of these 300 people. However, Lu Hua could only take away a few suspicious people to investigate. Inside the 9-moon elixir pavilion, Tang Ao and Su Shiro's expressions both changed when Lu Hua appeared. However, Tang Ao's expression quickly returned to normal. Su Shiro's body trembled as she said, "Senior brother Tang Ao, I sense someone outside with the same aura as the heavenly Tao talisman." He He should have a talisman nurtured by the heavenly Tao talisman. Moreover, this person's aura is the same as the demon who slaughtered our entire Su family. Hearing Su Shiro's words, Tang Ao quickly understood what was going on. The guy outside was an Yin-Yang realm martial artist. It was very likely that after he obtained a heavenly law talisman, he became interested in the heavenly law talisman. He even chased Su Shiro to the continent to find the heavenly law talisman. In the end, he even slaughtered Su Shiro's entire family. Although Tang Ao's guess wasn't completely correct, it wasn't far off. After thinking for a moment, Tang Ao said, "Don't be afraid later. Just pretend that nothing happened. This person is an Yin-Yang realm expert. We should be fine in South Ruin City, but we'll be in danger once we leave the city. The calmer you appear, the more complete we will be." Su Shiro noticed Lu Hua, but Lu Hua did not notice Su Shiro. However, Lu Hua's sole thought paused on the Nine Moon Pill Pavilion's defensive formation. Even the most powerful formation master in South Ruin City was nothing more than an ant in front of Lu Hua. Even the strongest formation master in South Ruin City could only set up an extremely low-grade, first-grade immortal formation. However, Lu Hua noticed that although the defensive formation outside the Nine Moon Pill Pavilion was still a Grade 1 immortal formation, it was infinitely close to a Grade 2 immortal formation. When he saw the words Nine Moons Pill Pavilion, Lu Hua immediately recalled what Li Yujun had said about a pill master called Tang Ao, who had refined a king-grade immortal pill. Chapter 22:31. This Tang Ao was very suspicious. If Tang Ao obtained the heavenly law talisman and used it to comprehend the pill Dao, he would indeed be able to improve rapidly. There was also the formation outside the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion. If this formation was also set up by Tang Ao, then the heavenly law talisman was most likely on Tang Ao. When Lu Hua's soul remembrance swept towards the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion's defensive formation, it was immediately blocked. Of course, Lu Hua could use his soul remembrance to penetrate a formation of this level if he wanted to. However, Lu Hua knew that if he used his soul remembrance to penetrate it, Tang Ao would know immediately. Since that was the case, he might as well go in directly. If the heavenly law talisman was really in Tang Ao's hands, Lu Hua had to obtain it no matter what. As long as he obtained the heavenly law talisman, he could even leave the ruins of immortality and enter the void. There weren't many treasures like the heavenly law talisman in the entire true martial domain. If he obtained such a treasure, his future would be limitless, let alone a mere Langya domain lord. He might even be able to become a high and mighty Dao sovereign in the future. However, the prerequisite was that he had to obtain the heavenly law talisman. Lu Hua took a step forward and arrived at the entrance of the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion. With a jolt of spiritual energy, the defensive formation outside the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion shook violently, as if it would collapse at any moment. At this moment, Nan Huili and Yang Yun also arrived outside the Nine Moons Elixir Pavilion. When they saw that Lu Hua was about to attack the Nine Moons Elixir Pavilion, Nan Huili and Yang Yun's expressions changed. The two never expected that their worst fears would come true. North Ruin City's Beigong Ji had yet to make a move, but Elders Association's Lu Hua was about to attack Tang Ao. After sensing that the defensive formation outside was about to collapse at any moment, Tang Ao naturally couldn't pretend that he didn't know. Tang Ao immediately formed a hand seal, and the defensive formation outside the Nine Moons Elixir Pavilion instantly disappeared. Then, Tang Ao opened the Nine Moons Elixir Pavilion's door. After opening the door, Tang Ao saw Lu Hua standing at the entrance. The instant Lu Hua saw Tang Ao, his powerful soul remembrance scanned Tang Ao's body. However, Lu Hua's brows furrowed after he probed it. This was because Lu Hua did not sense the slightest aura of the heavenly law talisman on Tang Ao. In other words, Tang Ao had never come into contact with the heavenly law talisman. However, There was another possibility, and that was that Tang Ao had some kind of treasure on him that completely concealed the aura of the heavenly talisman. The heavenly Tao talisman was of great importance, so even if Lu Hua killed the wrong person, he was not willing to let it go. Today, no matter what, he had to bring back Tang Ao and the two people behind Tang Ao and search their souls. If there were too many people, it would be hard to say, but now he only had 3 people with him. Nan Huili and the other old fellows above him shouldn't be much of a threat. If the 3 of them really had nothing to do with the heavenly Tao talisman after the soul search, then he would release them. Little friend Tang Ao, this is the 7th elder of the ruins of Immortality Elder Council, Senior Lu Hua. This is South Ruins City's City Lord Nan Huili. Yang Yun immediately introduced Tang Ao to Tang Ao after seeing him. Yang Yun was worried that Tang Ao would offend Lu Hua because of his arrogance, giving Lu Hua an excuse to deal with him. Tang Ao immediately greeted the 3 people, then said to Lu Hua, "May I know what brings Elder Lu here?" Chapter 2232. I wonder how Pill Master Tang Ao has offended Elder Lu. I will apologize on his behalf. Seeing that Lu Hua was really pointing his sword at Tang Ao, Nan Huili immediately walked up and said politely. Hearing Nan Huili's words, Tang Ao thought that this city lord was not bad. Unfortunately, Lu Hua's goal was the Heaven Law Talisman. This matter would not be so simple. As expected, Lu Hua snorted. As an elder of the ruins of Immortality's Elder Council, do I need your permission to bring someone to ask some questions? Nan Huili, you have quite the face. Nan Huili's expression changed slightly when he heard Lu Hua's words. However, he couldn't figure out why Lu Hua, a Yin-Yang Realm Level 3 expert, would go against Tang Ao. Elder Lu, I only want to concoct pills in the 9 Moon Pill House. I don't want to go anywhere else. Please go back. This Lu Hua was obviously not going to let him go. In that case, there was no need for Tang Ao to be polite. Tang Ao didn't believe that this Lu Hua would dare to do anything to him in the South Ruined City. If Lu Hua really dared to do so, he wouldn't need to talk so much, and he wouldn't need to use his identity to pressure Nan Huili. You don't know what's good for you. Lu Hua waved his sleeve, and a wave of horrifying spirit power enveloped Tang Ao. Under this power, Tang Ao felt like his whole body was about to be crushed. Don't you dare hurt my brother. But at this moment, Jin Dafu took a step forward and arrived in front of Tang Ao. At the same time, he threw out a punch. The entire space crackled under this punch. But even so, Jin Dafu still couldn't block this casual attack. The gap between the astral-reaching realm and the yin-yang realm was huge. Pucci, puking out a mouthful of blood, Jin Dafu's aura instantly weakened. At the same time, his whole body was blown away by Lu Hua. Jin Dafu, who was at peak astral-reaching realm 9th level and was known for his strength, couldn't even block a casual attack from Lu Hua. Tang Ao was shocked. In his previous life, Tang Ao's highest cultivation was also at peak astral-reaching realm 9th level. Now, Tang Ao realized that peak astral-reaching realm 9th level was not only not powerful, it was also just one of many ants. Tang Ao didn't hesitate. He took out a king-class purple heart pill and threw it to Jin Dafu. At the same time, wind, thunder, and dark cloud gathered. A space-breaking talisman appeared in Tang Ao's hand. If Lu Hua attacked again, Tang Ao wouldn't hesitate to take Jin Dafu and Su Shiro away with the space-breaking talisman. Hua obviously knew what Tang Ao was. Lu, as Hua Lu, Tang Ao Lu, and Ao Su, he Hua, Hua, Purple Tang Shiro Hua, Hua, and Chun, Lu Sheng and Hua, Hao Lu Tang Hua Su, and Hua didn't. Then, Lu Hua threw out a bead, which flashed once before disappearing into the surreal space. Tang Ao's complexion changed. At this time, Tang Ao discovered that the surrounding space seemed to have been bound by an invisible force. Tang Ao didn't need to use the space-breaking talisman to know that even if he used the space-breaking talisman, he wouldn't be able to break the space. Tang Ao was shocked. He had been too careless this time. He had obviously overestimated his power and underestimated the power of Yin Yang Realm Warrior. If Nan Huili didn't help him this time, Tang Ao might not be able to get out of this alive. Moreover, although Yi Qiuqing was a chaotic sky realm warrior, he was only at astral reaching realm 9th level. Therefore, even if he were here, it wouldn't be enough. Only a Yin Yang realm warrior would be able to stop Lu Hua. Only then would Tang Ao have a chance to escape. After sealing the space, Lu Hua raised his hand and grabbed towards Tang Ao and the other two. Tang Ao wanted to resist, but Tang Ao discovered that a horrifying power had bound all of his spirit power. Right now, Tang Ao couldn't even activate his wind thunder dark cloud. The only thing Tang Ao could do was hide in the Primal Chaos 6 light mirror space. However, hiding in the Primal Chaos 6 light mirror space was obviously useless in this situation. Moreover, it would expose the Primal Chaos 6 light mirror. Sushiro even puked out a mouthful of blood. She had just broken through to astral reaching realm not long ago. How could she bear the power of Lu Hua's grab? Lu Hua had only casually grabbed, but Sushiro had been severely injured in an instant. The only one who could move was Jin Dafu. When Lu Hua's Zhen Yuan giant hand grabbed towards him, Jin Dafu unexpectedly let out a roar and took out a Vajra hammer, smashing towards Lu Hua's Zhen Yuan giant hand. Lu Hua's Zhen Yuan hand was only casually used. Under Jin Dafu's full power attack, Lu Hua's Zhen Yuan hand was shattered. Immediately after, Tang Ao and Sushiro also landed on ground. The moment they landed, Tang Ao took out a king-level purple heart pellet without hesitation and fed it to Sushiro. At the same time, a golden light flashed on Tang Ao's body as he summoned his battle Saint Bone life spirit. The 7 green lotus swords behind him also exploded with a horrifying green light. Chapter 2233. You're courting death. Lu Hua snorted coldly and threw a punch at Jin Dafu. Under this punch, cracks appeared in the space around it. A terrifying aura enveloped Jin Dafu. Even Jin Dafu found it difficult to move under the restraint of this domain. The surrounding space crackled as if it was unable to withstand the terrifying might of the fist and was about to collapse. Wait! Seeing this, Tang Ao hurriedly called out. Tang Ao regretted his decision. His lack of understanding of Yin Yang realm martial practitioners had cost him a great deal. If Tang Ao had known that Yin Yang realm experts were so terrifying, he would have escaped with Sushiro and Jin Dafu using a space-piercing talisman the moment Lu Hua appeared outside the 9-moon pill pavilion. Tang Ao had been hoping for a fluke. Tang Ao guessed that Lu Hua wouldn't dare to kill them in South Ruin City, so Nan Huili would have stopped him. Furthermore, Tang Ao felt that before Lu Hua had any evidence or obtained the Heavenly Dao Talisman, he would not kill the 3 of them. But Tang Ao knew that he was wrong this time. This Lu Hua did whatever he wanted in South Ruin City without the slightest scruple. Although Nan Huili's expression was ugly, he didn't seem to have any intention of stopping Lu Hua. Lu Hua's fist didn't stop even after Tang Ao spoke. Lu Hua had attacked in anger, so it was too late for him to stop even if he wanted to. The reason Lu Hua was so angry was all because of Jin Dafu. If Jin Dafu hadn't destroyed his true energy hand seal and embarrassed Lu Hua, he wouldn't have been so ruthless. Elder Lu is so mighty. A gentle voice came from the distance at this moment of life and death. At the same time, the pressure on Jin Dafu and Tang Ao's body instantly dissipated. Tang Ao was shocked. Tang Ao knew that another expert had come, and this one was even stronger than Lu Hua. Who is it? Lu Hua's expression turned cold. To be able to break his domain without even showing himself, the opponent's cultivation was definitely not below his. Lu Hua didn't expect that there would be such an expert hidden in this small South Ruin City. At this time, a voluptuous middle-aged woman also appeared outside the 9-moon pill pavilion. Lu Hua's figure flickered and instantly appeared outside. Jin Dafu and Tang Ao also instantly rushed out. When Jin Dafu saw the beautiful middle-aged woman, he immediately said, "Mother, why are you here?" This middle-aged woman was Jin Dafu's mother? Tang Ao was puzzled. At the same time, Tang Ao didn't expect Jin Dafu's mother to be so. Tang Ao had met Jin Dafu's father, Jin Wanchuan. Jin Wanchuan even invited Tang Ao to the Myriad Treasure Tower to refine medicinal pills, but Tang Ao declined. Tang Ao had seen Jin Dafu's father, Jin Wanchuan, before. Jin Wanchuan had even invited Tang Ao to Myriad Treasure Tower to refine pills, but Tang Ao had politely declined. But at this time, Tang Ao was secretly glad. If it weren't for Jin Dafu's mother being so powerful, none of them would have survived today. Chapter 2234. I didn't expect there to be an expert like you in South Ruins City. Lu Hua looked at Luo Shiru and didn't attack again. Lu Hua could tell that Luo Shiru was at the 4th level of the yin-yang realm. Her Jin Yuan was extremely condensed, making her a very powerful existence among the 4th level. If he didn't reveal some of his trump cards, he didn't think he could do anything to her. If he were to go all out and fight with Luo Shuro here, those old fellows would realize that something was wrong, even if they were slow to realize it. Lu Hua wanted the Heavenly Law Talisman, but he was blinded by the talisman just now. As long as Tang Ao and the other 2 kids didn't leave the ruins of immortality, the talisman would always be his. To leave the ruins of immortality, one had to be at least at the yin-yang realm to break through the spatial barrier and reach somewhere else. As for using the space-piercing talisman, there was a 90% chance of appearing in the void. Even a 9th-level astral-reaching martial artist would be in great danger if they were exposed to the void for a long time. The void of a lower realm might be fine, but this was the true martial realm. There were too many people in South Ruin City, so it wasn't convenient for him to make a move. However, Lu Hua believed that Tang Ao and the other 2 would leave the city eventually. As soon as they did, he would be able to capture them immediately. Thinking of this, Lu Hua planted a soul remembrance imprint on Tang Ao and the other 2 before his figure flickered and he flew directly to the floating palace. "Mother, he's going to run," Jin Dafu said hurriedly after seeing Lu Hua leave. Hearing Jin Dafu's words, Luo Shuru smiled and shook her head. If this wasn't the ruins of immortality, Luo Shuru would kill anyone who tried to kill her son without mercy. Unfortunately, this was the ruins of immortality, and she had left the Luo family. Otherwise, the Elders' Council of the Ruins of Immortality would only be an ant in front of the Luo family. Jin Dafu had the Luo family's bloodline, so he could be considered a direct descendant of the Luo family. Lu Hua wouldn't dare to attack Jin Dafu, even if he had 100 guts. After sighing helplessly, Luo Shuru looked at Tang Ao. "You must be Pill Master Tang Ao." Tang Ao greets Senior. After learning that Luo Shuru was Jin Dafu's mother, Tang Ao heaved a sigh of relief. Furthermore, Tang Ao felt that Luo Shuru, who was also a yin-yang realm expert, made him feel more comfortable compared to Lu Hua and Nan Huaili. She didn't have the arrogance of an yin-yang realm expert at all. Although Nan Huaili's words could be considered polite, they were the words of a junior teaching a junior. In reality, Nan Huaili's yin-yang realm level 1 cultivation wasn't much at all. Ever since Tang Ao started cultivating, not to mention yin-yang realm experts, Tang Ao had come into contact with many Huntian realm experts. Tang Ao had even seen the supreme experts of the Dao Master realm. But none of those experts were like Nan Huaili. "Tang Ao, this kid Dafu will be by your side for a period of time. You must guide him. In addition, if you have time, you can make a trip to the Myriad Treasure Tower. I have something to look for you." Luo Shuai smiled slightly and said with a gentle tone, "In 3 days, Tang Ao will definitely come to the Myriad Treasure Tower to listen to Senior's teachings." Tang Ao cupped his fists and said. He was very grateful to Luo Shuru. After she appeared, not only did she save Jin Dafu, but she also saved Tang Ao and Sushiro. Moreover, with Luo Shiru in South Ruin City, Lu Hua definitely wouldn't come looking for him again. As long as Tang Ao became a grade 3 immortal pill master and refined the 9 transformation heaven reversal pill, he wouldn't be able to do so. Chapter 2235. After returning to the 9-moon pill house, Tang Ao said with a smile, "Our luck was pretty good today. We managed to escape with our lives." Sushiro was not as optimistic as Tang Ao. She asked nervously, "Senior brother Tang Ao, that Lu Hua has his eyes on us. How about I give him the Heavenly Law Talisman?" Although Sushiro knew that the Heavenly Law Talisman was a treasure of the world, it would only bring trouble to Tang Ao and Jin Dafu if she kept it with her. Even if you give him the Heavenly Law Talisman, this Lu Hua will not let us go. With Andy here, Lu Hua will not dare to act recklessly in the South Ruin City. Let's just stay in the city for a while and not go out. As long as I successfully refine the 9 transformation heaven reversing pellet, I won't have to be afraid of this Lu Hua. We should use this time to cultivate. Brother Jin, try to break through to the yin-yang realm. Tang Ao quickly made the arrangements. Lu Hua was only a yin-yang realm martial artist. He might be able to show off in the immortal ruins, but in the Langya realm, there were many martial artists who were stronger than him. Lu Hua did not have the guts to let others know that he had the Heavenly Law Talisman. Therefore, even if he gave it to Lu Hua, he would not let them go. Right now, the 3 needed to increase their cultivation. Right now, Tang Ao was at the 2nd level of the astral reaching realm, but the spiritual power inside Tang Ao's body had not turned into a mortal spiritual power yet. The same was true for Sushiro. Jin Dafu had the highest cultivation at the peak of the 9th level of the astral reaching realm. As long as Jin Dafu could break through to the yin-yang realm, the 3 would have more confidence in dealing with Lu Hua. This Lu Hua had almost killed Tang Ao, and he had left a soul remembrance mark on Tang Ao and the other 2 before he left. Therefore, Tang Ao guessed that as soon as the 3 left the South Ruin City, Lu Hua would immediately capture them and search their souls. Since Lu Hua was not willing to let them go, they could only fight him to the end. Moreover, Tang Ao's group of 3 was not to be trifled with. After a period of time, Tang Ao might even take the initiative to ambush Lu Hua. After Sushiro refined the Heavenly Law Talisman, she did not continue learning alchemy. Instead, she began to transform the spiritual energy in her body into immortal spiritual energy. It was the same for Tang Ao. Originally, the 10 low-grade immortal crystals in Tang Ao's hand were not enough. But after Jin Dafu gave nearly 1,000 low-grade immortal crystals to Tang Ao and Sushiro, it was more than enough. At this time, Tang Ao would not refuse. Only by becoming strong could his safety be guaranteed. Otherwise, everything else would be meaningless. While Tang Ao was cultivating, many martial artists slowly gathered in front of the 9-moon elixir dispensary. Although many people had heard about what had happened before, they didn't care at all. Like Tang Ao, they needed Tang Ao's pills to increase their strength. As for who Tang Ao had offended, it had nothing to do with them. "Big brother, there are a lot of people outside," Jin Dafu said to Tang Ao the moment he came out of the cultivation room. "Amen, I know." Tang Ao's soul remembrance had already scanned the situation outside the cultivation room. It seemed that contribution points were indispensable if they wanted to leave the ruins of immortality. Moreover, contribution points were hard currency in South Ruin City. Although the ruins of immortality couldn't be considered the true martial realm, there were still many good things in the ruins of immortality. South Ruin City had existed in the ruins of immortality for countless years, so it was only natural that it had accumulated many good things. Chapter 2236. Tang Ao was certain that Lu Hua wouldn't say much about a treasure like the Heavenly Law Talisman. Therefore, as long as he killed Lu Hua, no one else would know about the Heavenly Law Talisman. With a creak, the 9 Moons Pill Pavilion's door slowly opened. The crowd loitering outside immediately saw Tang Ao. When they saw Tang Ao, they cupped their fists and asked, "Pill Master Tang Ao, when will the 9 Moons Pill Pavilion start selling pills?" "Pill Master Tang Ao, what pills do the 9 Moons Pill Pavilion have? Are you selling the King Grade Purple Heart Pill?" For a time, the crowd couldn't wait to ask Tang Ao all kinds of questions. Tang Ao raised his hand and motioned for the crowd to quiet down. Then he said, "The 9 Moons Pill Pavilion will officially start selling pills tomorrow. Grade 1 Immortal pills and below. No matter what kind of pill it is, the 9 Moons Pill Pavilion has it all. The Spirit pills are all Supreme Grade, and the Immortal pills are all High Grade." After listening to Tang Ao's words, the crowd immediately gasped in shock. The quality of the Spirit pills were all top grade, and the Immortal pills were all high-grade Immortal pills. Forget the ruins of immortality. Pills of this quality were probably rare, even in Langya realm. When they thought of this, the crowd's eyes became even more fervent. The higher the grade of the pill, the better the effect and the less pill poison. If money wasn't so tight, most martial practitioners would choose to buy high-grade pills as much as possible. However, there were only a few pill refiners in South Ruin City. Moreover, these pill refiners had limited skills. Forget high-grade immortal pills. They rarely refined middle-grade immortal pills. When they thought of this, the crowd couldn't help but worry. Because middle-grade immortal pills were rare, they were already very expensive in South Ruin City. Now that all the pills Tang Ao was selling were high-grade immortal pills, everyone was a little worried that Tang Ao's pills would sell for an astronomical price. Although Tang Ao wanted to earn contribution points, Tang Ao also knew the principle of a steady stream. Thus, just as everyone was feeling worried, Tang Ao spoke again. "With my current alchemy abilities, I can only refine supreme-grade immortal pills by sheer luck. Thus, the pills sold by the 9 Moons Elixir Pavilion are all high-grade. 9 Moons Pill Pavilion's high-grade pills are sold according to South Ruin City's middle-grade pill standards. However, when purchasing a pill, you will need to add a portion of immortal spirit herbs used to refine the pill or immortal spirit herbs of equal value." As soon as Tang Ao said this, the crowd immediately boiled over. What was the most valuable thing in the ruins of immortality? Naturally, it was the various kinds of pills that could increase one's strength. However, the least valuable thing in the ruins of immortality was naturally the various kinds of immortal herbs. These immortal herbs couldn't be consumed directly. They had to be concocted into pills for them to be effective. However, there were only a few pill refiners in the immortal ruins. Moreover, their standards weren't very high. This caused the immortal herbs in the immortal ruins to be inexhaustible. A normal low-grade Purple Heart pill was 1,000 contribution points, and a middle-grade Purple Heart pill was 5,000. Right now, a high-grade Purple Heart pill was only 5,000 contribution points in the 9 Moons Elixir Pavilion. Many people would feel that it was expensive to spend 5,000 contribution points to buy a middle-grade Purple Heart pill. However, if they could buy a high-grade Purple Heart pill with 5,000 contribution points, it was simply too worth it. Chapter 2237. Alchemist Tang Ao. If the immortal spirit grass is fine, then what about other spirit materials? A martial artist in the crowd asked. Hearing this question, everyone cast a praising gaze at this martial artist. There was no other reason. Whether it was the immortal spirit grass or spirit materials, these things were of little value to the crowd. They were practically useless. It would be better to exchange them for pills with Tang Ao. Sure. Moreover, I'm also a top grade 1 artificer. If you need to refine immortal artifacts, you can come and find me. The materials for refining immortal artifacts will be in 2 sets, and each transaction will cost 50,000 contribution points. These are the immortal artifacts I have refined. You can have a look. As Tang Ao spoke, he took out 10 different immortal artifacts from his storage ring and threw them out. Then, Tang Ao made a hand seal, and the 10 immortal artifacts were fixed in midair by a formation. After hearing that Tang Ao was a top-grade artificer, Everyone was very surprised. However, after hearing the price of Tang Ao's artifacts, everyone's hearts sank. If Tang Ao alchemy's price was fair, then Tang Ao's artifact refining price was too much. However, after seeing Tang Ao throw out the 10 immortal artifacts, everyone's soul remembrance instantly looked over. After seeing the grade of the 10 immortal artifacts, everyone was shocked speechless for a long time. Without exception, all 10 of these immortal artifacts were high-grade immortal artifacts. Among the crowd, there were many martial artists who had high-grade immortal artifacts among the first-grade immortal artifacts. However, compared to the immortal artifacts refined by Tang Ao, they were simply trash. If there were still a few alchemists in the South Ruined City who could refine immortal pills, then the artificers who could refine immortal artifacts were even rarer. Not only were there few artificers, the quality of the immortal artifacts they refined was also not that great. After seeing Tang Ao's 10 immortal artifacts, a third-level astral-reaching realm martial artist immediately said, "Alchemist Tang Ao, there are 50,000 contribution points and 2 sets of materials for refining immortal artifacts. I would like to ask Alchemist Tang Ao to refine an axe for me." However, Tang Ao didn't take the man's storage ring. Instead, he said calmly, "Everyone, go back for today. Whether it's refining pills or artifacts, please come back tomorrow." After Tang Ao finished speaking, everyone left one after another. Although they didn't get any pills or artifacts today, no one was disappointed. With Tang Ao here, they would be able to get an endless supply of immortal artifacts and pills. After everyone left, Tang Ao returned to the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion. Following this, Tang Ao used an array formation to split the Nine Moons Pill Pavilion into 2. From now on, one half of the Nine Moons Pill Pavilion would be used to concoct pills, while the other half would be used to forge weapons. Sushiro was still cultivating in the cultivation room, learning how to use the Heavenly Law Talisman. However, Jin Dafu couldn't break through to the Yin-Yang realm in a day. Therefore, after cultivating for a while, Jin Dafu began to refine artifacts again. Perhaps it was because of his incomplete mind. Jin Dafu was very focused when refining spirit artifacts. Moreover, his talent was not bad, so his progress in refining spirit artifacts was even faster. After giving Jin Dafu some guidance, Tang Ao returned to his cultivation room to continue cultivating. Sushiro converted the spirit energy in her body into immortal spirit energy, using less than 100 immortal crystals. Chapter 2238. The next morning, when Tang Ao opened the door of the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion, the densely packed martial artists outside gave Tang Ao a fright. Although Tang Ao knew that after the news spread out, there would be a lot of martial artists looking for him to concoct pills or forge weapons, Tang Ao didn't expect that there would be so many people. However, what made Tang Ao happy was that although there were so many people outside, the scene was still orderly and there was no chaos. Moreover, the crowd quickly formed into 2 long lines. Those who wanted to forge weapons stood on one side, and those who wanted to concoct pills stood on the other. After Tang Ao opened the door, he said to the crowd, "Whether you want to concoct pills or forge weapons, one person at a time can come in and register. 10 days later, you can go to the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion with the proof and collect your customized pills and immortal weapons." After speaking, Tang Ao walked into the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion. Tang Ao didn't need to worry about Sushiro, as she could handle this kind of small matter with ease. However, Tang Ao was worried about Jin Dafu. Soon, 2 martial artists walked into the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion. The one who wanted to concoct pills was a first-level astral-reaching young woman. After entering, she directly walked towards Sushiro. The one who walked towards the forging area was the man who wanted to ask Tang Ao to help him refine an axe yesterday. After seeing Tang Ao, the man immediately cupped his fists and saluted, then went to Jin Dafu to register. Jin Dafu took out a jade scroll and asked the man to write down his request. After checking the man's forging materials and credit card, Jean Dafu took out a jade card and gave it to him. This jade card was the proof to collect an immortal weapon from the Nine Moon Elixir Pavilion. Tang Ao was originally worried that Jean Dafu wouldn't be able to handle it. But now, it seemed that Tang Ao's worries were unfounded. These people would still want to find Tang Ao alchemy or forge weapons in the future. Naturally, there wouldn't be any problems with this kind of thing. After registering both parties, Tang Ao took 10 jade scrolls from Sushiro. He then returned to the alchemy room and began to refine the elixirs. In Tang Ao's alchemy room, Tang Ao took out 4 more alchemy furnaces in addition to the Shinnon cauldron. Subsequently, Tang Ao's powerful soul remembrance was released. Tang Ao unexpectedly started concocting 5 cauldrons of pills at the same time. If this matter was told to others, they might not believe it, but in fact, ever since Tang Ao had refined the king-level Purple Heart pill, Tang Ao's understanding of alchemy had become even more thorough. At this moment, refining 5 batches of pills at the same time was a little scary, but it was completely within Tang Ao's ability. Now, Tang Ao did not need to concoct king-grade immortal pills or even supreme-grade immortal pills. He only needed to concoct high-grade immortal pills. This was naturally not difficult for Tang Ao. Time passed slowly. Seeing that there were too many people in the queue, a few warriors decided to temporarily leave. In any case, it was impossible for Tang Ao to only refine pills for a day or two. Therefore, if one was not in a hurry to refine pills or an immortal artifact, many of them would leave temporarily and come back when there were fewer people. Previously, Tang Ao said that regardless of whether it was pills or immortal weapons, he would have to rely on the Nine Moons Elixir Pavilion's proof to pick up the items within 15 days. However, as the jade scrolls with pill refining requirements were sent to Tang Ao's alchemy room, the pills along the way were also concocted by Tang Ao and delivered to the warriors. Chapter 2239. In reality, Tang Ao had already finished refining many pills, but Tang Ao didn't let Sushiro take them out immediately. A martial practitioner with good pill refining talent could refine a king-grade Purple Heart pill, but it was very suspicious for a pill refiner to refine pills so quickly. Because of his soul C, Tang Ao's soul remembrance was incredibly condensed, so Tang Ao's pill refining speed was naturally much faster. Although this kind of thing normally wouldn't attract attention, Tang Ao still didn't want to reveal all of his pill refining abilities. While Tang Ao was refining pills, Jean Dafu was selling spirit artifacts. Originally, Tang Ao had refined many Grade 1 immortal artifacts and piled them up in his storage ring. He even obtained many Grade 1 immortal artifact from Great Dream Dao, Sovereign's Dao Palace. These Grade 1 immortal artifacts were also sold by Tang Ao. Other than that, Tang Ao also had many Grade 2 immortal artifacts in his storage ring. But before Tang Ao could refine them, Tang Ao definitely wouldn't sell them. Inside the floating palace, Lu Hua looked in the direction of the Nine Moons Pill Pavilion with a dark expression. In the past few days, Lu Hua hadn't gone to the Nine Moons Pill Pavilion to find Tang Ao, but the entire Nine Moons Pill Pavilion was under Lu Hua's close surveillance. Tang Ao seemed to have made up his mind to hole up in South Ruin City. In the past few days, Tang Ao hadn't even left the Nine Moons Pill Pavilion, much less left South Ruin City. However, Lu Hua didn't care. As long as Tang Ao was still in the ruins of immortality, the Heavenly Law Talisman would belong to him. His previous actions had already attracted the attention of the other old fellows. Fortunately, he was used to acting alone, so no one came to ask him about it. However, Lu Hua knew that the other old fellows were starting to watch him. Therefore, the next time he acted, he had to wait for the right opportunity. Otherwise, if someone else discovered the existence of the Heavenly Law Talisman, he might not be able to obtain it. As for whether or not Tang Ao would leak the Heavenly Dao Talisman, Lu Hua was not worried at all. Right now, Lu Hua was not completely sure that the Heavenly Dao Talisman was with Tang Ao. Otherwise, Tang Ao would have taken it out when he was in a life and death situation. On the morning of the third day, Tang Ao hung a sign at the entrance of the September Elixir House to rest for half a day. Then, he went to the Myriad Treasure Tower with Su Shiro and Jin Dafu. 3 days ago, Tang Ao promised Luo Shiro to make a trip to the Myriad Treasure Tower. Tang Ao naturally would not go back on his word. The Myriad Treasure Tower was easy to find in the first place, plus there was Jin Dafu leading the way. The three of them quickly arrived at the Myriad Treasure Tower. Initially, it was quite complicated to enter the Myriad Treasure Tower, but under Jin Dafu's lead, Tang Ao quickly entered the Myriad Treasure Tower. It turned out that the tall building in front of the Myriad Treasure Tower was dedicated to selling all kinds of items. The manor behind the merchant building was where the Wan family lived. Along the way, many servants saluted Jin Dafu when they saw him, but Jin Dafu just smiled foolishly. Soon, the group arrived at an exquisite courtyard. In this courtyard, Tang Ao saw 2 9th-level astral reaching realm warriors standing guard. At the same time, this courtyard was also protected by a 3rd-rank immortal array. In the entire South Ruin City, this might be the safest place. Young master, these two are... The 2 guards immediately saluted when they saw Jin Dafu. At the same time, they asked Jin Dafu about Tang Ao and Sushiro. This is Big Brother Tang Ao. He was called by my mother to see my sister. Chapter 2240. Now that they saw how young Tang Ao was, both of them were very shocked. They had thought that Tang Ao was an old man with 1 foot in the grave who had devoted himself to studying Pil Dao. They hadn't expected Tang Ao to be ridiculously young. The moment Tang Ao followed Jin Dafu into this courtyard, almost 10 soul thoughts swept across Tang Ao's body and quickly disappeared. In the distance, a benevolent-looking old man walked over with a smile. "First young master, Madam has been waiting for you for a long time. Come with me." "Hee, Uncle Lin, why didn't you stay in a merchant tower today? Instead, you came back to slack off," Jin Dafu laughed and said. "Ha!" Lin Bai laughed loudly when he heard Jin Dafu's words. Jin Dafu didn't have a mind of his own. He said whatever came to his mind. Only Jin Dafu would say something like slack off. After passing through a few more courtyards, Lin Bai stopped outside a room. Tang Ao noticed that the inner courtyard where the Jin family lived was warm, but this room was a bit cold. The reason it was cold was because of a formation. Tang Ao had asked Jin Dafu before, so he knew that Jin Dafu's younger sister, Jin Yun, was only awake for 4 hours a day because of her congenital deficiency. Most of the time, Jin Yun was unconscious. Not only that, Jin Yun's life force was flowing away at every moment. The formation outside Jin Yun's room was a profound frost formation. It could suppress the speed at which Jin Yun's life force flowed away to a certain extent. With the help of some medicine, it could barely stop Jin Yun's life force from flowing away. However, when he thought of the level of the pill refiners in South Ruin City, Tang Ao knew that no one in the ruins of immortality could refine a pill of this level other than him. "Pill Master Tang Ao, we meet again." The moment Tang Ao entered the room, he saw the Tower Master of Myriad Treasure Tower, Jin Wanchuan. At this moment, Jin Wanchuan didn't have the imposing aura he had outside. He seemed to have become an ordinary father. Beside Jin Wanchuan, Luo Shuru smiled at Tang Ao. "Landlord Jin, Annie." Tang Ao cupped his fist to the 2 of them. Previously, in the 9-moon elixir pavilion, if Luo Shuru had not helped him out, Tang Ao would have been in trouble. In Tang Ao's heart, no matter what reason Luo Shuru had for helping Tang Ao would remember this kindness. If you want to save Yin, you will need a very special pill. This pill is a King Grade 2 immortal pill, the breath-generating pill. I wonder if you can concoct it. During this period of time, Luo Shuru and Jin Wanchuan had been looking at Tang Ao's information. Although the information on Tang Ao was limited, they still found out a lot of information through their research. Right now, I can only concoct a Tier 1 King Grade Immortal pill if I'm lucky. Concocting the King Grade Violet Heart Pill previously was really a stroke of luck. In fact, Tang Ao's current alchemy skills were already at the peak of a Tier 1 alchemy master. As long as Tang Ao was given more time to comprehend, Tang Ao would be able to step into the ranks of a Tier 2 alchemy master easily. Moreover, due to the uniqueness of the Nine Dragons Emperor's Jade body, as long as Tang Ao had enough insights, he would be able to concoct a Tier 2 King Grade Immortal Pill very quickly. However, Tang Ao did not intend to say this. The effects of a Tier 1 King Grade Immortal Pill were limited. In fact, a Tier 2 King Grade Immortal Pill was not considered precious to an Yin-Yang realm expert. Chapter 2241. Hearing Tang Ao's words, Jin Wanchuan and Luo Shiru were somewhat disappointed. According to the information that the two of them had obtained, the medicinal pills that Tang Ao had been refining in the Nine Moon Pill Pavilion these past few days were of a very good grade. However, those medicinal pills were only high grade. Perhaps it was really as Tang Ao had said. With Tang Ao's current ability, he could only refine high-grade pills, and even refining top-grade pills was very rare. Even so, Tang Ao's current alchemy skills could be considered the best in the ruins of immortality. Luo Shiru had betrayed the Luo family. Although he was a direct descendant of the Luo family, he didn't dare return to the Langya realm. He didn't even dare let the Luo family know that he had married someone in the ruins of immortality and had a son and a daughter. Once the Luo clan found out that she had a child in the ruins of immortality, the bloodline of the Luo clan would leak out. Not only would she die, but Jin Wanchuan and the others would also be implicated. Otherwise, with her status as the young mistress of the Luo family, she would have been able to obtain a mere king-level breath forging pill in the Langya boundary. Unfortunately, she was hiding in the ruins of immortality and did not dare to reveal her true strength. How could she have the guts to return to the Langya world? Another point was that it was easy to come to the ruins of immortality from the Langya world, but it was very difficult to return to the Langya world from the ruins of immortality. Even though she was at the fourth stage of the Yin-Yang realm, it was not easy for her to cross the Void realm between the ruins of immortality and the Langya realm. Although I can't refine the breath-forging pill right now, I can refine the ice breath pill to freeze Jin Yun's life force. This way, Jin Yun might not be able to wake up for a period of time, but Jin Yun's life force will not continue to flow away. In fact, Tang Ao originally didn't even want to refine the ice breath pill. Instead, he wanted to refine some vitality-nourishing pills and medicines to maintain Jin Yun's vitality. However, at the thought of how Luo Shiru had saved his life, Tang Ao still prepared to concoct the king-grade ice breath pill. Using life-nourishing medicines to maintain Jin Yun's vitality, although Jin Yun's condition seemed to be getting better and better, in reality, it was constantly accumulating pill toxins in Jin Yun's body. Just like what Jin Yun was doing now, she was constantly accumulating pill toxins in her body. However, Luo Shiru's experience was clearly not shallow. Thus, unless it was absolutely necessary, Luo Shiru would not let Jin Yun consume the medicinal pill. After hearing that Tang Ao could refine the ice breath pill, Jin Wanchuan revealed a doubtful look. However, Luo Shiru was overjoyed. Tang Ao, you can really refine the ice Ao. After taking the ice breath pill, Jin Yun would obviously fall into a deep slumber, but during this slumber, Jin Yun's vitality would not dissipate in the slightest. It could be said that in the absence of the breath-forging pill, the ice breath pill was the best choice for Jin Yun. Moreover, after taking the ice breath pill, it was very easy to wake Jin Yun up. He just needed to use his spiritual power to dissolve the medicinal efficacy of the ice breath pill in Jin Yun's body. Yang he the ice breath pill. Mother Ao Yang have pill. Yin, Tang Luo Ao Yang said Tang Ao. Jin Yun Ao said I Ao. Yes, Annie, I can try to refine the ice breath pill now. The difficulty of refining the ice breath pill is about the same as the purple heart pill. If I can refine a king-level purple heart pill, then I can also refine a king-level ice breath pill. Tang Ao's words were modest. With Tang Ao's current strength, as long as Tang Ao was willing, Tang Ao could easily refine a king-level ice breath pill. However, it was enough for him to keep this matter to himself. There was no need to say it out loud. All right, Lin Bai, quickly prepare 10 sets of ice breath pills. Although Tang Ao only said that it was possible to concoct ice breath pills, Luo Shuru was still very excited. Jin Yun's current condition was very poor. If she continued to take elixirs that nourished her vitality, it would only accumulate more elixir toxins in her body. Therefore, in this situation, freezing Jin Yun's vitality was the best choice. Even though Tang Ao had some immortal herbs to concoct the ice breath pill, he could only gather 3 sets at most. Tang Ao did not expect that the Myriad Treasure Tower could actually take out 10 sets of immortal spirit herbs to refine the ice breath pill casually. Chapter 2242. The originally empty plaza of the Myriad Treasure Tower was now surrounded by a group of people. These people were the supreme experts of the Myriad Treasure Tower, as well as its alchemists. This time, Tang Ao was preparing to refine the ice breath pill on this plaza, and these alchemists had come to observe. There were even some other martial practitioners who had heard the news from various channels and wanted to see Tang Ao's elegant demeanor. But this time, the pill that Tang Ao was refining was of extraordinary significance to Jin Wanchuan and his wife. So these people were also blocked outside the Myriad Treasure Tower and didn't have the chance to personally come to the plaza to see Tang Ao alchemy. However, in order to prevent these martial practitioners from causing trouble, Jin Wanchuan still had the formation master use a projection formation to project the situation of Tang Ao's refining to the open space outside the Myriad Treasure Tower. When a Myriad Treasure Tower erected a huge formation screen on the open space, martial practitioners from various places in South Ruin City swarmed over, and very soon, the Myriad Treasure Tower was impenetrable. At this time, everyone in the Myriad Treasure Tower secretly admired Jin Wanchuan's shrewdness. Tang Ao's influence in the ruins of immortality was far greater than imagined. After learning that Tang Ao was going to refine pills on the spot, most of the martial practitioners in South Ruin City came over. Especially with the spread of a small rumor, many martial practitioners were thinking of ways to enter the inner courtyard of the Myriad Treasure Tower. This rumor was that the pill that Tang Ao was refining this time was also the ice breath pill of the King Great Immortal Pill. Although the difficulty of refining the ice breath pill and the purple heart pill was about the same, not many martial practitioners saw the purple heart pill when Tang Ao refined it last time. Everyone only received the news later and knew that an alchemist had refined the King Grade Purple Heart pill. But this time, they could witness the entire process of Tang Ao refining the pill from beginning to end. It was just that at this time, it was not so easy to enter the 10,000 Treasure Pagoda's inner courtyard. Fortunately, the square outside the 10,000 Treasure Pagoda was also synchronized with the alchemy scene. Otherwise, the densely packed warriors outside the 10,000 Treasure Pagoda might really cause trouble. On the plaza of the 10,000 Treasure Tower's inner courtyard, Tang Ao took out the Shinnon Cauldron again. As Tang Ao's strength increased, the Shinnon Cauldron's aura was basically concealed by Tang Ao. Especially after Tang Ao set up an aura-concealing array on the Shinnon Cauldron. If no martial artist used their soul remembrance to penetrate the second-grade immortal array on the Shinnon Cauldron, they wouldn't be able to tell that the Shinnon Cauldron was a top-notch immortal artifact. However, how could a Grade 2 immortal array be so easily penetrated? Moreover, Tang Ao was concocting pills. No one would be stupid enough to do such a thing. If an alchemist deliberately interfered with him while he was concocting pills, then he would have formed a great enmity with the alchemist. The people watching Tang Ao alchemy here were basically people from the 10,000 Treasure Tower and some of the top experts in South Ruin City. As for the others, they weren't qualified to come in and watch Tang Ao alchemy. After taking out the Shinnon cauldron, Tang Ao made a hand seal and summoned the netherworld flame. Tang Ao was currently very helpless about the netherworld flame, because the netherworld flame had only reached the level of a 9th grade spirit pill. Refining a 1st grade immortal pill was already its limit. It was even a little difficult to refine a 1st grade monarch grade immortal pill. Tang Ao already had the glazed flame amber that was needed to advance the netherworld flame to a 3rd grade immortal flame. However, what made Tang Ao very helpless was that Tang Ao still didn't have a clue about the 9-colored heaven fire crystal that could advance the netherworld flame from a 9th grade spirit fire to a 1st grade immortal flame. Chapter 2243. Tang Ao planned to ask Jin Wanchuan about the existence of the 9-colored sky fire crystal in the ruins of immortality or the Langyu world after the alchemy was over. If the netherworld flame could not be upgraded, Tang Ao would be bound by the flame during the alchemy. This was definitely not what Tang Ao wanted to see. If he really could not find the 9-colored sky fire crystal, Tang Ao was prepared to temporarily refine a cluster of other flames for alchemy. It was very difficult to find a flame like the netherworld flame that could be upgraded continuously, but it was not difficult to find some high-grade immortal flames. Many immortal flames were born with that grade, but because they could not be upgraded, their value was also limited. Although such immortal flames were also treasures, they were not that popular. Most importantly, there were many such flames in the world, so it was very easy to obtain such flames. For example, the purple sunfire that Yi Qiuqing had given to Tang Ao was a cluster of such flames. However, the purple sunfire was only a grade 1 immortal flame. Now, Tang Ao still felt that the grade of the purple sunfire was a little too low. After all, the purple sunfire could not be upgraded after refining it. Tang Ao could not use a grade 1 immortal flame for long. In Tang Ao's opinion, refining this kind of immortal flame that could not be upgraded required at least a grade 3 immortal flame. While Tang Ao was pondering, more and more warriors gathered on the square outside the 1,000 Treasure Tower. It was extremely rare for a top-notch grade 1 alchemy master to refine pills on the spot in the ruins of immortality. After all, there were not many grade 1 alchemy masters in the ruins of immortality. A top-notch grade 1 alchemy master had never appeared before. Although many people did not know anything about alchemy, they still did not want to miss this good opportunity. As for some martial artists who knew alchemy, they were even more excited. This was because watching a top-notch alchemy master refine pills like this could enhance one's understanding of the alchemy Tao. After watching Tang Ao alchemy previously, an alchemy master who had been stuck at the peak of the spirit alchemy master for a long time had broken through to the ranks of a grade 1 alchemy master. This matter was only spread among a small group of alchemy masters. Otherwise, if everyone knew about it, the square outside the 1,000 Treasure Tower would have been crowded. Even now, the plaza outside the Myriad Treasure Tower was also overcrowded. The news of Tang Ao alchemy had even spread from South Ruin City to North Ruin City. Many of the martial practitioners of North Ruin City were secretly envious. South Ruin City's martial practitioners would definitely advance by leaps and bounds in the future now that such a top alchemist had appeared in their city. Many people were even complaining about why they had appeared in the North Ruin City instead of the battlefield of immortality or the South Ruin City itself, when they had come from a lower realm. The alchemists of North Ruin City sighed inwardly. They couldn't see Tang Ao alchemy at all. One had to know that such a grand event was very meaningful to alchemists. Unfortunately, the hostile relationship between South Ruins City and North Ruin City prevented this exchange of pills. On the Myriad Treasure Tower's inner court plaza, Tang Ao naturally did not think so much. At this moment, Tang Ao was carefully recalling the ice breath pill's pill recipe and some things to pay attention to when refining the ice breath pill. This was Tang Ao's first time refining the ice breath pill. Although Tang Ao had asked for a total of 3 sets of ingredients, Tang Ao still wanted to successfully refine the pill in one go. Chapter 2244. When it came to pill concoction, there was no need to display anything special to attract other people's attention, especially now that there were countless eyes watching Tang Ao's every move. He couldn't reveal his true pill concoction abilities. Although Tang Ao didn't display his true pill concoction methods, the crowd of pill refiners in the plaza still stared unblinkingly at Tang Ao. At Tang Ao's level, even if Tang Ao didn't use his full strength, Tang Ao's entire pill concoction process was still remarkable. All the pill refiners in the plaza that were proficient in pill concoction were currently focused on Tang Ao's every move. If it wasn't for the fear that directly using soul remembrance would affect Tang Ao alchemy, many pill refiners wouldn't even be able to resist using soul remembrance to observe Tang Ao's entire process. After all, the chance to see Tang Ao concoct pills in public like this definitely wouldn't come often. In fact, after this time, there probably wouldn't be a chance to see Tang Ao concoct pills in public like this ever again. In reality, if Tang Ao's current cultivation was a bit stronger, Tang Ao wouldn't need to hide it. However, Tang Ao's current cultivation was truly too weak, so Tang Ao didn't want to appear too special. As Tang Ao threw the immortal spirit grass into the pill furnace, Tang Ao's hands adeptly patted out an incomparably complex pill art. At this moment, Tang Ao's hands were as nimble as picking leaves and flowers. As Tang Ao's pill art changed, traces of a special aura around the farmer god cauldron slowly condensed, slowly circulating like it was breathing. As the aura fluctuated, the farmer god cauldron emitted a medicinal fragrance that spread in all directions. After smelling this medicinal fragrance, everyone's spirits were lifted. Of course, this wasn't because Tang Ao had finished concocting the pill, but because Tang Ao had already refined the medicinal liquid and was continuously refining the medicinal liquid's essence. Now, this medicinal fragrance was emitted from the quenching of the medicinal liquid essence. Generally speaking, this kind of medicinal fragrance was not easy to appear in this kind of quenching medicinal liquid essence. To be able to produce a medicinal fragrance while quenching the medicinal liquid essence, it could be seen how heaven-defying Tang Ao's alchemy strength was. Even though Tang Ao tried his best not to stand out too much, he was still concocting a king-grade immortal pill. Tang Ao did not dare to hide his abilities too much. Otherwise, even with Tang Ao's alchemy ability, there was still a risk of failure. The medicinal fragrance appeared for a while, before slowly disappearing, as if it had never appeared. This scene stunned many people. However, the martial artists who knew alchemy knew that this was because the medicinal properties of the medicinal liquid essence had stabilized. Naturally, there would not be any medicinal fragrance emitting from it. As the saying went, the layman watched the show, while the connoisseur recognized the artistry. At this moment, the martial artists who knew alchemy exclaimed in their hearts. To be able to concoct pills so smoothly, they could foresee that if there were no accidents, the batch of pills Tang Ao was concocting would definitely be a Tier 1 King Great Immortal pill. At the thought of being able to witness the birth of a batch of Tier 1 King Great Immortal pills, many people became excited. Those martial artists who did not know alchemy started asking the surrounding alchemy masters to see if there was anything special about it. Tang Ao didn't care about the reactions of the spectators. At this moment, Tang Ao was completely focused on the pill concoction in front of him. Now, Tang Ao had already extracted all the medicinal essences from the immortal herbs. Next up was to continuously refine the medicinal essences and increase the purity of the medicinal essences. In the end, he would be able to fuse the medicinal essences and concoct the pill. Chapter 2245. At this moment, everyone on the Shinnon Cauldron felt as though life was about to be born. This was a phenomenon that would only occur when refining king-level pills. Now that this phenomenon had appeared around the Shinnon Cauldron, it meant that Tang Ao was very close to success in refining this furnace of pills. Shui Ro, do you think alchemy master Tang Ao can successfully refine the ice breath pill this time? As the Myriad Treasure Tower's helmsman, Jin Wanchuan had always been known for being steady normally. But this time, Jin Wanchuan was very nervous. Generally speaking, an alchemist's condition was the best when they were concocting their first cauldron of elixirs. If Tang Ao failed to even concoct this cauldron of elixirs, it meant that Tang Ao might really be unable to concoct a first-grade king-grade ice breath pill. When I was in the Luo family, I saw many formidable alchemy masters. I was even fortunate enough to see a grade 3 alchemy master refine pills on the spot. But in my opinion, none of these grandmasters can be as calm and indifferent as Tang Ao in alchemy. I can see that his expression is relaxed. He seems to be very confident in this furnace of pills. Luo Shiru looked at Tang Ao from afar and said indifferently, Luo Shiru was born in the Luo family. She was fortunate enough to have seen many top alchemy grandmasters in Langya World, but among these alchemy grandmasters, Luo Shiru had never seen a grandmaster as calm and fearless as Tang Ao. This kid is extraordinary. I see that Chun has a pretty good relationship with him. Why don't you let him and Chun become sworn brothers? What do you think? Jin Wanchuan said to Luo Shiru while sizing up Tang Ao. The Chun that Jin Wanchuan spoke of was Jin Wanchuan's son, Jin Dafu. Jin Dafu's real name was not Jin Dafu, but Jin Chun. Luo Shui Ro nodded. If he is willing, our Chun can be considered lucky. This Tang Ao came to the ruins of immortality from a low-level plane, yet he was able to achieve so much. If Chun trains with him in the future, she might be able to reach heights that we can't even imagine. I just don't know if she's willing to become sworn brothers with Chun. After Luo Shiro finished speaking, Jin Wanchuan actually laughed. Madam, you have always been smart. How can you be so muddle-headed at this time? Look at that little girl who's following Tang Ao. According to my investigation, she and Tang Ao just met by chance. When Tang Ao came to the ruins of immortality, she provided Tang Ao with a temporary cultivation room. Now, Tang Ao is also taking her with him. Tang Ao is a person who values loyalty. Chun and Tang Ao can be considered to be sworn brothers in life and death because of Lu Hua's incident. Perhaps in Tang Ao's heart, Chun has already become his brother. In fact, Tang Ao had already regarded Jin Shun as his friend. As for whether Jin Shun was mentally deficient, Tang Ao did not care at all. As time passed, the Shinnong cauldron once again emitted a lingering fragrance. At the same time, thunder rumbled above the Myriad Treasure Tower, and countless thunder clouds gathered. Upon seeing this scene, everyone's spirits were lifted. The appearance of the thunder tribulation meant that this time, Tang Ao was really refining a king-grade immortal pill. At the same time, as long as this wave of thunder tribulation was withstood, the king-grade immortal pill that had previously shocked the entire city would appear again. Even grade 2 or grade 3 alchemy masters could not guarantee that they would be able to refine a king-grade immortal pill when refining a grade 1 immortal pill. Chapter 2246. As long as such a talented martial practitioner didn't die, it was foreseeable that he would definitely become a top expert who could shake a region in the future. However, many people had also heard that Tang Ao and Elder Lu Hua, the Ruins of Immortality Elder Council, seemed to have some enmity. If the Myriad Treasure Tower hadn't intervened last time, Tang Ao would have been taken away by Lu Hua. No matter what the reason was, it wasn't good news that Tang Ao had offended Lu Hua in the Ruins of Immortality. Rumble. At this moment, thunder exploded in the sky, and the scene from a few days ago appeared again. However, this time, Luo Shu, who was at the 4th level of the Yin-Yang realm, was personally guarding Tang Ao, so Tang Ao didn't need to worry about the lightning tribulation at all. He only needed to continue refining pills. As the pill fragrance grew thicker, the lightning tribulation in the sky also grew more violent. However, under Luo Shiru's resistance. The lightning tribulation's aura didn't leak in the slightest. A moment later, the lightning tribulation dissipated, and a vast aura of great Tao swept over and surged into the 3 slowly spinning ice breath pills in the Shinnon cauldron. These 3 ice breath pills were sparkling and translucent, showing a deep blue luster. As the vast aura of spirit energy surged into them, the ice breath pills exploded with waves of resplendent light. Then, the entire city was filled with pill fragrance again. After smelling this pill fragrance, everyone in South Ruin City was shocked by Tang Ao. If Tang Ao had been lucky and accidentally refined a first-rank king grade immortal pill, then it was understandable. But now, Tang Ao had refined a first-rank king grade immortal pill consecutively. From this, it could be seen how terrifying Tang Ao's pill refining ability was. Tang Ao executed several pill arts in his hands, and then 3 ice breath pills flew out of the cauldron and fell into a jade bottle that Tang Ao had prepared in advance. At this time, the formation image on the Myriad Treasure Towers Plaza also slowly dissipated. At this moment, many people were still looking at the formation screen longingly. Tang Ao's pill refining process was simply too amazing. In the inner courtyard of the Myriad Treasure Tower, Tang Ao had returned to Jin Yun's room again. This time, Jin Yun had already woken up. Jin Yun greets big brother Tang Ao. After seeing Tang Ao, although Jin Yun was very weak, she still called him big brother. The reason why Jin Yun called Tang Ao big brother was because Jin Shun had told her. Tang Ao smiled at Jin Yun. Jin Yun's condition might be incurable in the eyes of others, but in Tang Ao's eyes, it was nothing. As long as Tang Ao could raise the nether flame to a grade 3 immortal flame and his alchemy skills to that of a grade 2 immortal alchemy master, Tang Ao would be able to refine the breath forging elixir for Jin Yun. Tang Ao was already a peak grade 1 alchemy master, so it would not be difficult for him to become a grade 2 alchemy master. In fact, based on Tang Ao's pill refining experience and the Shinnon Emperor's alchemy Dao inheritance, as long as Tang Ao could comprehend it in peace, Tang Ao could break through to become a grade 2 alchemy master at any time. After breaking through to become a grade 2 alchemy master, as long as there was a grade 3 immortal flame, Tang Ao could refine the breath forging pill for Jin Yun at any time. Jin Yun's condition looked very serious, but as long as there was a breath forging pill, Jin Yun's illness could be cured. Tower Lord Jin, Annie, I did not disappoint you. Tang Ao cupped his fists at Jin Wanchuan and Luo Shiru before handing the jade bottle over. Chapter 2247. Tang Ao naturally understood Jin Wanchuan's intentions. Jin Wanchuan clearly saw his potential, so he wanted Jin Dafu to become his brother. Although he knew Jin Wanchuan's intentions, Tang Ao did not refuse. Jin Dafu was a little foolish due to his lack of intelligence, but he was honest and had a good character. Jin Dafu also did not retreat when he faced a strong enemy like Lu Hua. I will listen to Uncle on this matter. Tang Ao nodded without thinking too much. Seeing Tang Ao nod, Jin Wanchuan was overjoyed. He then said to Jin Dafu, "Chen, come over and greet your brother." Although Jin Dafu's current cultivation was higher than Tang Ao's, Jin Wanchuan still wanted Jin Dafu to acknowledge Tang Ao as his brother. Jin Shin greets brother Tang Ao. Jin Dafu walked over and cupped his fists. Jin Shun. Tang Ao was stunned when he heard Jin Dafu's words. Ah, Jin Shun is my son's original name. Jin Dafu is an auspicious name we gave him, Jin Wanchuan explained when he saw Tang Ao's confusion. Hearing Jin Wanchuan's words, Tang Ao could understand. Jin Wanchuan and Luo Shiru had a son and a daughter. In the end, Jin Shun was born with an incomplete intelligence, while Jin Yun was born with a loss of vitality. Because of this, Jin Wanchuan and Luo Shiru gave Jin Chen the name Jin Dafu. Brother Chun, in the future when we travel together, you can call yourself Jin Chun. Tang Ao felt that Jin Dafu's original name was much better than Jin Dafu's, so he immediately said, "Okay, Brother Tang Ao." Jin Chun did not refute Tang Ao's words and only smiled. On the other side, Luo Shiru had already arrived next to Jin Yun's bed. Looking at her haggard daughter, Luo Shiru's heart ached. If the entire Luo family was not chasing after her, Luo Shiru would definitely find a way to return to Langya Boundary to get a breath-forging pill for Jin Yun. However, Luo Shiru also knew that if she rashly returned to the Langya world and was caught, the consequences would be dire. It was fine if she died, but Jin Shun, Jin Wanchuan, and the others would also be implicated by the soul search of the family elders. Fortunately, although there was no breath-forging pill now, Tang Ao had refined the ice breath pill for Jin Yun. After taking an ice breath pill, Jin Yun would sleep for a year. During this year, if one wanted to wake Jin Yun up, they only needed to use spirit force to dissolve the medicinal efficacy of the ice breath pill in Jin Yun's body. Mother, don't be sad. For Big Brother Tang Ao to help me refine the ice breath pill, I'm already very grateful to Big Brother Tang Ao. 1 year later, Yin will come again to accompany mother and father. After Jin Yun finished speaking, she hugged Luo Shu, then took out an ice breath pill and swallowed it. After consuming the ice breath pill, a wave of sleepiness surged into her heart, and Jin Yun immediately fell asleep with a gentle smile on her face. Luo Shui smiled bitterly when she saw the smile on her daughter's face. Jin Shen's mind was incomplete, but her daughter had been exceptionally intelligent since she was young. After knowing that her vitality was constantly flowing away, she worked even harder to learn alchemy. In just a few years, she had already become a Tier 6 Spirit Pill Master. Her talent in alchemy was evident. However, it was a pity that she did not have a teacher to guide her, and her body was weak, so she did not have much success in alchemy. However, after Jin Yun consumed the breath-forging pill, her body recovered. Luo Shui planned to let Jin Yun leave the ruins of immortality and enter an alchemy sect in the Langya world to focus on alchemy. After setting up the surrounding restrictions, Luo Shui also left. Chapter 2248. Hearing Jin Wanchuan's words, the old butler Lin Bai raised his eyebrows. The patriarch's words meant that Tang Ao could take anything he liked from Myriad Treasure Pagoda. This gift was definitely not small. Moreover, Jin Wanchuan was too modest when he said that there was nothing good in Myriad Treasure Pagoda. As the old butler of Myriad Treasure Pagoda, no one knew better than Lin Bai what was in Myriad Treasure Pagoda. Uncle is too kind. There are many treasures in Myriad Treasure Pagoda. I only need to pick 3. Originally, Tang Ao was not very interested in the things in Myriad Treasure Pagoda. The ruins of immortality was too small, and they were not the real, true martial realm. Even if there were treasures, they were very limited. It was impossible to display them in Myriad Treasure Pagoda directly. However, Tang Ao also knew that it would not be good if he directly refused at this time, because doing so would directly disrespect Jin Wanchuan and make him think that Tang Ao, looked down on the things in Myriad Treasure Pagoda. Now that Tang Ao said that he only needed 3, Jin Wanchuan immediately showed a look of approval. In fact, no matter how many things Tang Ao asked for, Jin Wanchuan would give them to Tang Ao. However, the most taboo for a martial artist was greed. Jin Wanchuan was also extremely happy that Tang Ao could be so open-minded. Then, under Lin Bai's lead, Tang Ao and the other 2 also went to Myriad Treasure Pagoda's merchant tower. After walking for a while, Lin Bai turned around and said to Su Shiro, who was next to Tang Ao, "Little girl, if there is anything you like later, pick 3. Lin Bai could see that Su Shiro followed Tang Ao, so her relationship with Tang Ao must be extraordinary. It was very likely that she was Tang Ao's Dao partner. Since Tang Ao and Jin Shun were already sworn brothers, Myriad Treasure Pagoda would certainly not be stingy with Tang Ao's Dao partner. Sushiro was shocked by Lin Bai's words. Myriad Treasure Pagoda was the top merchant tower in South Ruin City. Any random item in Myriad Treasure Pagoda was priceless. In the past, when Sushiro passed by the Myriad Treasure Tower, she only dared to look from afar. She never thought that one day she would go to a place like the Myriad Treasure Tower to buy things. But now, Lin Bai told Sushiro that she could also pick 3 things she liked. How could Sushiro not be surprised? However, Sushiro quickly waved her hand and said, "Thank you for your love, Uncle Lin, but I have nothing to do with Brother Tang Ao." Sushiro naturally knew that Lin Bai said that because of Tang Ao. That was why Sushiro said that. However, as soon as Sushiro finished speaking, she immediately regretted it. She and Tang Ao didn't have any special relationship, but after she said that, it was impossible for others to not misunderstand. As expected, Sushiro looked up and saw Lin by looking at Tang Ao and her with a faint smile. Then he coughed twice. At this time, Tang Ao also said to Sushiro, "Junior sister Su, we may have to face a top expert like Lu Hua in the near future. It's good to choose some necessary items to strengthen ourselves. Since it's Butler Lin's kind intention, please accept it." Originally, Sushiro would never accept these things, but after hearing Tang Ao's words, she understood that Tang Ao's words made sense. Sushiro immediately nodded. Lu Hua's threat was so oppressive that Sushiro couldn't breathe. Now that such an opportunity had presented itself, Sushiro was prepared to choose a talisman brush and some good talisman paper to start learning how to draw talismans. Chapter 2249. Very quickly, Tang Ao followed Lin Bai to the first floor of Thousand Treasure Tower. Thousand Treasure Tower had a total of 5 floors. Each floor up, the quality of the items would increase. Tang Ao scanned the first floor with his sole remembrance and went straight to the second floor. On the second floor, Tang Ao didn't stop and went to the third floor. Compared to the first and second floors, the third floor had fewer people. Similarly, the items on the third floor couldn't be compared to the first and second floors. Tang Ao thought about it before. The treasures in the immortal ruins had been accumulated for tens of thousands of years. Over this long period of time, there would definitely be good items. After seeing many of the items on the third floor, Tang Ao felt that they weren't too bad. However, Tang Ao glanced over and found that these items weren't very useful to him. On the third floor, most of the items were broken immortal equipment, rare spiritual materials, and many cultivation technique jade scrolls. Tang Ao had obtained too many of these items from Great Dream Dao, Lord's Dao Palace. Moreover, the quality of these items was much higher than these. Therefore, after Tang Ao glanced over with his sole remembrance, Tang Ao prepared to head to the fourth floor. However, Sushiro stopped. After Sushiro stopped, Tang Ao naturally didn't continue to walk. Subsequently, Tang Ao saw Sushiro pick up a broken talisman brush from the shelf. At the beginning, Tang Ao didn't notice this talisman brush. Now that Sushiro picked it up, Tang Ao's heavenly pole pupils instantly looked over. After using heavenly pole pupils to examine the talisman brush, Tang Ao silently praised Sushiro's luck. This talisman brush looked very ordinary and broken. It didn't even have many spiritual fluctuations. However, with Tang Ao's heavenly pole pupils, Tang Ao instantly saw the problem. The reason this talisman brush was like this wasn't because it was too damaged. Instead, it was because this talisman brush was sealed by a restriction, just like the Heavenly Dao Talisman. Moreover, Tang Ao was rather astounded because Tang Ao actually sensed an aura similar to a Heaven Dao Talisman from this talisman brush. It was very likely that this talisman brush was a treasure that came with the Heavenly Dao Talisman. In fact, Tang Ao's guess was right. If it weren't for the Heavenly Law Talisman's reminder, Sushiro wouldn't have noticed this talisman brush. Even now, Sushiro didn't understand why the white Heaven Dao Talisman would guide her to this talisman brush. Lin Bai shook his head when he saw Su Shiro choose a rune brush that had no spirituality at all. He then took out a jade box from the wooden shelf on the upper floor. After opening the jade box, a rune brush made of white jade was quietly lying inside. In terms of appearance and grade, this white jade charm brush was much better than the black charm brush in Su Shiro's hand. However, Su Shiro did not hesitate and chose the rune brush in her hand. Su Shiro believed that since the Heavenly Law Talisman had guided her to this talisman brush, there must be something special about this talisman brush. It was just like the Heavenly Law Talisman from before. At first, no one could tell that it was a treasure. However, after the restriction on the seal was broken, it attracted a strong enemy like Lu Hua. Chapter 2250. Upon reaching the fourth floor, Tang Ao's brows twitched. This was because Tang Ao's psyche had discovered a pale gold stone on the left shelf of the fourth floor, in the 13th row and 6th column. The pale gold stone had an aura similar to that of the chaotic hexagram mirror. Tang Ao quickly recognized what it was. It was a very special top-notch material. Although it was Tang Ao's first time seeing it, it was clearly recorded in Yun Xiaoyao's crafting jade scroll. This material was known as the innate origin stone. It was said that after an immortal weapon was crafted, the innate origin stone could be used to strengthen the weapon. Seeing that there were 3 innate origin stones, Tang Ao walked over without hesitation and picked them all up. Alchemist Tang Ao, although these 3 stones are mysterious, no one has yet found out what they are used for. Do you really want a stone like this? Lin Bai asked Tang Ao with a smile. I think these 3 stones are special. It just so happens that my crafting skills are so I want to bring them back for research. Lin Bai did not know what they were, but Tang Ao did. These were the innate origin stones. Even in Yun Xiaoyao's crafting jade scroll, it was marked as a rare material. As a 9th grade immortal weapon emperor, Yun Xiaoyao's collection at his peak must have been bountiful. Even so, Yun Xiaoyao had specially marked the innate origin stones as rare. This showed that the innate origin stone was indeed a very rare material. Lin Bai had also heard of Tang Ao's crafting skills. No matter what Tang Ao wanted, Lin Bai would not stop him. Lin Bai was only saying all this now to make Tang Ao feel a little offended. Seeing that Tang Ao liked these 3 stones, Lin Bai naturally did not say much. After discovering the innate origin stones, Tang Ao did not find anything good on the 4th floor. After looking around, Tang Ao went straight to the 5th floor. Compared to the 4th floor, the 5th floor of the Plethora Gem Pagoda had much fewer items. There were a few warriors on the 4th floor, but there was not a single person on the 5th floor. Lin Bai, why is there not a single person on the 5th floor? Tang Ao asked curiously. The 5th floor of the Plethora Gem Pagoda is a little special. Normally, only warriors with a platinum-level identity token can come up. Moreover, the items on the 5th floor are not sold normally. Instead, they are bartered for other items. Ordinary people will owe the Plethora Gem Pagoda a favor. Of course, Alchemist Tang Ao and young Master Jin Shun are sworn brothers, so there aren't many rules. After listening to Lin Bai, Tang Ao was secretly shocked. Tang Ao didn't expect that there would be so many rules on the 5th floor. However, after Tang Ao's soul remembrance swept around, he discovered that 10,000 Treasure Tower's 5th floor was indeed worthy of its reputation. There were indeed many decent items on the 5th floor. However, among these treasures, Tang Ao could not use a single one. Just as Tang Ao was feeling disappointed, Tang Ao's gaze was suddenly attracted by a jade slip. This jade slip was made with a very rare black jade. It was not the black jade that was similar to black jade, but a very rare black jade. Normally, black jade was used to refine array flags because compared to other jades, black jade was not suitable for making jade slips. However, this jade slip was made with black jade. After Tang Ao's soul remembrance scanned the jade slip, he discovered that there were many hazy small words on it. He could not see anything clearly. After seeing this, Tang Ao was secretly shocked. Tang Ao was already sure that this jade slip was very extraordinary. Using ordinary methods, it seemed impossible to know what was recorded on the jade slip. However, Tang Ao's heavenly polar pupil was clearly not an ordinary method. Under Tang Ao's heavenly polar pupil, Tang Ao instantly saw what it was. This was a body refinement technique, jade slip. Moreover, this body refinement technique jade slip was very impressive. After a glance at the introduction, Tang Ao was sure that the entire 10,000 treasure towers items added together were not as precious as the jade slip in his hand. Immediately, Tang Ao did not hesitate and picked up the jade slip. Seeing that Tang Ao was holding things that no one could understand, Lin Bai was also very helpless. This was a rare opportunity. Jin Wanchuan agreed to let Tang Ao pick 3 items at will in 10,000 treasure tower. Tang Ao should have chosen some treasures that were easy to identify. In the end, Tang Ao had only chosen 2 treasures, one stranger than the other. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.